All right, we're gonna cut the music. What up? What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm What J. This is the Mo You Know. Man, I had me a nice little lamp today, but I almost got the London vlog done, so that'll be up Saturday for sure. Man, well, another one bites the dust. Now, some people are saying maybe Diddy got something to do with this, but the feds ain't playing around and they doing the sweep. And Cat Williams said all these big dick deviants will be brought down in 2024. Well, this is the former CEO. He wasn't the current CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch. He was arrested for trafficking. This is just my take on the whole situation. I always thought that was a gay company. No disrespect to the community. I'm just saying I always thought that was a gay company from the get-go. Used to walk by, niggas would be out there with their shirts off in the middle of the mall. Like, hey, bro, I'm not about to go buy no jeans. What would they call, like, low-waist jeans? And I'm not wearing that. Nigga, it is 2002. I got baggy pants on. I got a 3XL tall tee on and a fitted hat. I'm not wearing no Abercrombie and Fitch. That was white people clothing. Well, turns out they were doing the same shit Diddy was, but on a larger scale, allegedly. So we're going to go through all of this, look this over. Diddy got a new case. I will say this, though. My sleep has been messed up. Y'all know what time I woke up today? I got to be at work at 7 o'clock. I didn't wake up till 8:15 today. I strolled on into work about 8:45-ish. They said, Mo, how are you? I was like, man, shit, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, one thing Mo ain't got is excuses. Shit, I overslept, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I turned that first alarm off. The heat was feeling good. Had the window crack a little bit, so it was a little breeze coming in. Shit, turned that first alarm off at 6:25. The next one, 6:35. Next thing I knew, it was 8:15. I said, oh, shit. Let me get to work, man. You know, don't write me up, please. But anyway, we're going to go over this. This isn't a laughing matter. But we're going to go over this, play some audio clips from it. I was supposed to do a Tubi movie, but like I said, I got off work, came home. I was like, man, let me start this London thing. Did that, ordered some food, took me a little nap, woke up. It was 7:35, went back to sleep. It was 9 o'clock. I said, man, come on, Mo. Get right, man. You promised the people. So I'm Mo J. This is the Mo You Know. And of course, we got some more lawsuits we need to go over. I used to wear that in middle school. Yeah, I wasn't wearing never. Well, I think I do have I have a Hollister sweater. Now, Hollister is like the sister company to Abercrombie and Fitch. I got a Hollister sweater. Isn't Hollister like the little bird, the little seagull? I think it's a Hollister sweater. Well, obviously I don't have it now, but I had it because where was I going? Oh, I was going to not my mom's graduation. It was something to do with my mom. I guess we was going to like work with her, and we were downtown. So she worked at Hallmark, and we went over to the little it's not really a mall, more like a shopping center. And I just needed a sweater to put on. So I went in there. I was like, okay, cool. They got a little sale because it's like November or something. I think it may have been like for their pre-Christmas party or some crap like that. But yeah, that's as close as I got to that. Let me see. All right. Let me download. What up, Trey? I got to do some reading. All right, let's see. Over on CNN, former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch indicted on trafficking charges. The 6-minute read. Let's see what she got to say. I know she wasn't a part of this.
Misty, the accusers here were under the impression that Jeffries would help their careers. How is that going to factor into the defense?
Well, keep in mind that the prosecutors have to prove for the sex trafficking charges that there was the recruitment and solicitation of individuals through force, fraud, or coercion to engage in a sex act. So that's the standard for prosecutors. So that element of force, fraud, and coercion is something that's going to be the prosecutor's burden to prove. Now, of course, when it comes to the defense, they're going to look at each one of these individuals, the specific allegations relating to them, and try and potentially make arguments that some people may have been engaging in these acts willfully. And so that's where you see the prosecutors in the indictment setting out that there were other substances involved, that there were other issues that would make them unable to consent to these sexual acts. But the defense uses that in a different way to say, this might not be a sex trafficking ring. It might be a case of state sexual assault. And that's how they're going to try and detract from those allegations.
I am curious, though, Aaron, your view on.
Man, we ain't talking about Trump right now. We got all next week for that. All right. New York. Mike Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie Fitch, has been indicted on 16 federal counts of trafficking and international prostitution in New York and is accused of leveraging a network of employees, contractors, and security professionals while he led the retailer. So 16 federal. All right, trafficking. Yeah, he's pretty much done because, you know, they about to go overseas and start getting everyone also. While Jeffries was the CEO of one of the most recognizable clothing retailers in the world, he was using his power, his wealth, and his influence to traffic men of his own sexual pleasure and that of romantic partner Matthew Smith, Breon Peace, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, said in a Tuesday press conference. Smith, 61, of West Palm Beach, Florida, and another associate of Jeffries, James Jacobson, 71, of Rice Lake, Wisconsin, that sounds like a place we would never ever go, were also indicted as part of the case. Jacobson employed by Jeffries and Smith to recruit, interview, and hire men to perform commercial acts for Jeffries and Smith, according to the indictment. So let me see. Jacobson is the one from Rice Lake. So he was the oldest one. He's 71 now, so 10 years older than Smith. So his job was to go out, and you know when you see all of the boys that are outside the store, Abercrombie and Fitch, hey, come on in here and buy some pants. They basically saying they were getting all these young dudes, and hey, you come do this, and we'll get you where you need to go. I mean, I always thought that was a weird company. I mean, I understand it was like some surfboard shit, but I'm from Kansas City. Abercrombie and Fitch, that's some like California uppity white people shit. It was niggas where I'm from. We didn't wear that. So when we go to the mall and see it, we always thought there was something funny about this. This is why we didn't wear that shit. Plus, wasn't nobody wearing that kind of clothes either. Fucking what's it called? Boot cut pants. Like they were wearing boot cut pants, low rise jeans, like below the waist. Like what kind of, back then it was good shit, but you know what I mean? Like we didn't wear that shit. So I always thought there was something up with that. And you know, they'd be standing outside dancing and shit like this. Hey, nigga, go in the store. But this is for people with money. I think they clothes used to be like 39. What was they sell back in the day? $39 for a pair of jeans. Or it was always like buy one, get one off. But wasn't nobody wearing that shit. These the jeans at Abercrombie and Fitch, they were multi-purpose. You could wear them to work. You could also wear them to like wrestle in. You could wear them to go jogging in. Like it was some weird clothes. You know what I mean? Then they had the shirts with the collars always up. Yeah, it was some weird shit. And I'm not wearing no clothes with a fucking moose on it. But all right, the indictment alleges that between 2008 and 2015, well, this is around the same time they were talking about Diddy. The indictment alleges that between 2008 of December and March 2015, Jeffrey, Smith, and Jacobson engaged in an ex-trafficking scheme in which they would recruit men, engage in X events. So they got X events, and then Diddy got freak offs. So this is like the X Games, the white people version. They recruit men to engage in X events. So they would call theirs X events. at which the alleged victims were given muscle relaxants known as poppers, alcohol lubricant, Viagra, and condoms to perform X acts. So they were getting muscle relaxants known as poppers. Diddy was doing it in the baby oil. So we got the alcohol here. Diddy got the Ciroc. The lubricant here. Diddy got the baby oil. You see? So is there a connection between Mo and telling on these people? No, because I didn't have nothing to do with this. But is there a connection between Diddy and maybe them? Probably so. Hold on, let me see something. What am I looking for your last message, Kendall? I mean, I'm gonna bring up more videos. I just brought up the CNN one to read about it, and then we'll listen to the district attorney, and then we'll just go from there. You know how it is. Once we get started, we're gonna go down all kinds of rabbit holes. So they got muscle relaxant known as poppers, alcohol, Ciroc, lubricant, baby oil. Diddy had the pink cocaine, allegedly, condoms to perform X acts. They were allegedly enticed into the acts with modeling career opportunities at Abercrombie. Same thing with Sean John clothing. Damn, it's eerily similar. Do you guys believe that Diddy is in there telling on other people? All right, look. Don't bring me all the way down. You're gonna take me down. But listen, Abercrombie and Fitch are doing it too. They were doing it too. Oh yeah, Diddy did use muscle relaxants. He had the horse sterilizers, allegedly. Jeffries stepped down as the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch in December of 2014, having run the company since '92. A&F did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The message from today's prosecution is clear. Actually exploiting vulnerable human beings is a crime. In doing so by dangling dreams of the future of fashion or modeling or any other business is no different, U.S. Attorney Peace said at the press conference announcing the indictment. Yeah, I probably should have been a lawyer. Imagine me up here. I definitely wouldn't have did brown shoes, but imagine me up here knocking skulls, prosecuting people. United States Attorney. Oh, that's just the image. I remember. Jeffries and Smith relied on their vast financial resources, according to the indictment, using Jacobson as a network of employees, contractors, and security professionals to run a business that was dedicated to fulfilling their actual desires and ensuring that their international trafficking and prostitution business was kept a secret. Jeffries and Smith paid dozens of men to travel within the United States and internationally. That's one reason the feds are picking it up, because you cross state lines, then internationally, and then it's all right, cool. Jeffries and Smith paid dozens of men to travel within the United States and in the United States, and I was going to say and throughout the U.S., the United States and internationally to various locations, including the Hamptons, New York City, and hotels in England, France, not my country, France, Italy, Morocco, and St. Bartholomew for purposes of engaging in X acts with Jeffries, Smith, and others. That's going to be interesting. Who are these others? According to the indictment, some of the men were allegedly paid to attend multiple X events. It's just some weird shit, man. Nah, they ain't say no Germany. But I'm pretty sure they were in Baltimore. I'm pretty sure they were in DC. Matter of fact, let me look up Abercrombie and Fitch, Baltimore. I'm sure they were out there for sure. Oh yeah, Townsend, Maryland, White Marsh, Hollister stores. Oh yeah, Baltimore, the headquarters. Let me find out. Yeah, they may have been in Kansas City, but they were where I was at. See, that's the thing. There weren't any Abercrombie and Fitch stores in Kansas City when I was growing up. They were in Overland Park across the border in Kansas at Oak Park Mall. See, in Kansas City, we didn't have those malls because Kansas City was nigga city. See, you had to go across the border to get Abercrombie and Fitch in the white people side on Kansas. Haha, the more you know. But all three all three defendants were arrested this morning. Jeffries and Smith made their initial appearance this afternoon in federal court of the Southern District of Florida. Jacobson was arrested in Wisconsin and made his initial appearance in federal court in St. Paul, Minnesota. Jeffries was released on a $10 million bond. Jacobson was released on a $500,000 bond, and Smith was ordered to be detained. So Smith, they said, nah, they will be arraigned in the Eastern District of New York on Friday. So wait. So Jeffries got a $10 million bond. Jacobson, hold on, let me find out. Jeffries is the head CEO, well, the former CEO. He got a $10 million bond. Jacobson was released on $500,000, and Smith is the older one. So Smith is the 71-year-old. No, Smith is the 61-year-old. So damn, they kept him in. They let the older dudes go. I seen the border on Google. You talking about Kansas City and Missouri and then the Kansas border? Yeah, we right on the border. I mean, there's a Kansas City, Missouri, and then the Kansas City, Kansas. You got to go across the bridge to get to Kansas City, Kansas. But Kansas City, Kansas is like Kansas City. It's ran down. Like you got to go into Overland Park, Lenexa. Once you cross the border, that's like where the Chiefs players live. They play in Kansas City, but a majority of the Chiefs players live on the Kansas side of the border just because it's better living over there. We will respond in detail to the allegations after the indictments is unsealed and when appropriate. But the plan is to do so in courthouse, not the media, said Brian Bieber, attorney for Michael Jeffries. The attorney for Matthew Smith released the same statement for his client. An attorney for Jacobson did not immediately respond to a request for comment. What jail are they? I don't know what jail they in. We'll find it. Jacobson's alleged role was to travel the world to recruit and interview men for the X events. So wait, he wasn't even traveling out. He wasn't even traveling to recruit for the company. He would just, hey, straight up come to the X event. Jacobson's alleged role was to travel the world to recruit and interview men for the X events and conduct tryouts for potential candidates. So wait, Jacobson typically required that the candidates first engage in X acts with him, according to. This is who they should have kept locked up. So what they're saying is Jacobson, he wasn't even going to recruit for the company. He wasn't even looking for models. He was just straight up looking for men. He'll recruit them and interview them and have them conduct X events on him and say that, okay, you're good. You can come back and do it with the rest of the people. They didn't say like Jacobson went out there, hey, let's see you model. Okay, you're good modeling, and like that's what Smith was doing, I guess. But Jacobson was straight up, hey, we want you for the X event. Come do this. And you see they like overseas, especially if they in, well, hell, even stateside. But if they're international, they're really impoverished over here. So when you go to these like Eastern European countries, oh man, I ain't gonna lie to you. I love the Eastern European countries. But you gotta be careful. It gets a little dangerous over there because there's really no law. It's a lawless land. But let me tell you, your money goes a long way. You think your money go a long way in like Latin America and South America and like over in Southeast Asia? When you go into the Eastern blocks, oh man, I'm talking about you can hit the mall and ball all day. I'm talking about money go a long way. But this is back in the 90s and early 2000s. So you know, like even with the before Germany became a part of the European Union, I think it was called German francs. Was it German francs? Those things were so, that shit was like It was so cheap over here at one point. Well, actually, Germany's in a recession, but that's a whole nother story. I'm gonna tell y'all about that because I actually just got an offer on a little 2-bedroom apartment downtown that I might be trying to scoop up. But let's get back to this article. You know, that's neither here or there. All right, so Jacobson's alleged role was to travel the world to recruit and interview men for X events and conduct tryouts of potential candidates. Jacobson typically required that the candidates, first engage in X acts with him, according to an indictment. Jeffries and Smith hired a separate household staff to supervise these parties and directed the men to wear costumes, use X toys, or prepare for particular X acts, prosecutors allege. Now, Diddy had freak-offs, X events. We're just going to do a lot of comparing and contrast between the two. At Diddy's, they had to wear the masquerade mask. Diddy also had people walking around providing drugs the whole time. All of this is alleged, but Diddy had a whole nother staff. Remember, we went through cases where they talked about Diddy's people tried to clean up hotel rooms where they had to pay $40,000 in damages. They would bring extra sheets. They would have people prep for the freak offs. Well, Jeffries and Smith had a whole household staff allegedly to supervise the parties. So they directed the men to wear costumes, use X toys, or prepare for particular X acts, prosecutors allege. The staff would also act as security and controlled who entered and exited the X events, the indictment says, and who would not let them leave until Jeffries and Smith decided that the events were over. Remember, the freak-offs allegedly lasted 2 or 3 days where they needed IVs. You weren't allowed to leave, and there's videos of Diddy telling you to put your phone up. Also, we know that security in Cassie's lawsuit said that they would come and pick her up and find her wherever she was. So this is where it's getting eerily similar. Now, was there a crossover between the two? Maybe so. Hey, Diddy, I got some models for Sean John, or hey, Sean John, do you have some models from Abercrombie and Fitch? I don't know. The accused are alleged to have used a referral system and interview process for the X events, but didn't disclose details to the men about what they would entail, including the full extent and nature of the actual activity that would be required of them. According to the indictment, which included anal intercourse, oh Lord, and the use of X toys and other objects. So it was a referral system. And I was literally just talking about, hey, Sean John, do you have any black male models that we could use for Abercrombie and Fitch? Because we're trying to be a little more diverse. Hey, Abercrombie and Fitch, do you have some white models that we could use over here in Sean John? Because we're trying to be diverse. Well, yeah, actually we do. We had a couple of interviews over here and they performed well at the X events. Well, that's crazy because over here at the Freak Offs, we had some high performers also. Let's intertwine. This is all alleged. Okay. The accused intentionally recruited heterosexual. See, that's fucked up, man. Well, it's fucked up for anybody, but for these young dudes that 17, 18 years old, they trying to find themselves in lives and they got taken advantage of. So it's not just women that get taken advantage of. These young men didn't have any idea what was going on, man. This is messed up. And the difference between this and I know me and Torian were having a back and forth in the Discord, but the difference between this, they're going into like actual details of what actually happened. With Diddy stuff, it's still all alleged, or oh, I got drugged and I woke up, I couldn't remember, or I had to do this. This is telling us specific details of what actually happened. The accused intentionally recruited heterosexual men who were physically groomed prior to the X parties, including shaving their genitals without a what? Wait. Who were physically groomed prior to X parties, including shaving their genitals without advance notice. The men were required to relinquish personal items, including clothing, wallets, and cell phones. So what, they just came in and said, get the shaving? See, this part right here, even at 17, 18 years old, hell, even at 15, I'm like, nigga, I'm not shaving my nuts, nigga. You wanna get out of here? The men were required to relinquish personal items, including clothing, wallets, and cell phones. On more than one occasion, the indictment says Jeffries and Smith directed others to inject or personally injected men with a drug for the purpose of causing men to engage in X acts, in which they were otherwise physically incapable or unwilling. That's blinked twice. These injections frequently caused the men to suffer painful physical reactions that lasted for several hours, according to prosecutors. So if they got this in a federal indictment, that means this shit more than likely happened. They probably got either footage of this, they got some of the staff members telling. Because think about it. Well, like I said, me and Victorian were talking about it. Good discourse. He was asking, he wanted to see how far they were going to go with this. We knew nothing about this. With Diddy, we had at least a year, because it was what, November last year Cassie did it. So it's basically, we could just basically say it's a year. So it's just been like building up, building up. It's just out of nowhere on a random Tuesday, we get the news that the former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch did all of this. And this is more information on one day than we got from Diddy. And Diddy got 150 lawsuits against him, which are all civil. There's no civil lawsuits here. This is straight, your ass is going to jail. Damn. Some wild shit going on out here, man. The 2000s may have been the best time for music, but geez Louise, this is the best time to try to get put on. He's asking me to go on the ground. To be honest, I'm thinking there probably is footage, because remember they said Jacobson was doing like interviews. These guys were cocky. No pun intended. These guys were cocky with how they were moving. So if he was doing the recruiting and interviews, I'm pretty sure they had, just like, we didn't all stumble across the casting couch before, but that's basically what, from a clip that I seen, that's what the feds were saying, is basically a casting couch. So I'm sure they had cameras recording the guys that were coming in. Hey, this is your interview here. Boom, boom. Dude, like, oh man, this is terrible. But that's what I want to know. Maybe Diddy's in there like, well, wait a minute. Did you look over there at Abercrombie Fitch? I ain't the only one doing it. What Nino Brown say?
He's bigger than Nino Brown. This is big business.
It's big business. This is bigger than Sean P. Diddy Combs.
He's bigger than Nino Brown. This is big business.
And if I'm going down, everyone's going down. Man, this is some wild shit here. Damn, they got a lot. All right, here we go. In some cases, the alleged victims had previously worked at Abercrombie stores or had modeled for Abercrombie and were provided with itineraries for what the fuck? They got itineraries. Hey, you can go model. Your work hours are from 10 a.m. What time the mall open up? 10 a.m. to about 4 p.m. You can go do some marketing, some advertising over at the store, and then you go home for an hour. You go shave. You need to be done with that by 6 p.m. By 7 p.m., you need to arrive to the house fully shaven. This is all disgusting right now. But there's an itinerary for the X events. You're going to go into room 17, down the hall to the right. Then from there, you're going to be in there for roughly an hour. Oh, roughly. Let me not say that. Dog, there's itineraries. So I'm sure some of these young men, they probably kept this shit. Like, this is what they instructed us to do. And were provided itineraries for X events that did not refer to commercial X and instead resembled those often sent to models for photo shoots. Some of the alleged victims were as young as 19, a source familiar with the case said. Many of these men were aspiring models and were led to believe that attending the parties would benefit their careers, prosecutors say. They were also told, according to the indictment, that not only complying with certain requests for certain acts would harm their for not complying with certain acts and certain requests for certain. Golly, hold on. They were also told, okay, here we go. According to the indictment, that not complying with certain requests for certain acts will harm their careers. The victims were allegedly required to sign non-disclosure agreements prohibiting them from sharing any information about the X events, including their own family and friends. Jeffries, under intense scrutiny in 2023, after okay, let's see what this BBC investigation said. Jeffries came under intense scrutiny in the 2023, so that was just last year, after a BBC investigation alleged that the CEO and his partner Matthew Smith used a middleman to recruit and exploit young men, which is Jacobson. Dozens of men filed a lawsuit last year against Jeffries and Abercrombie and Fitch, alleging the former CEO used his position at the company to exploit and abuse men. A&F said at the time it was appalled by the allegations and launched an independent investigation into the matter. As CEO of 2 decades, Jeffrey transformed A&F into a global brand for teen and youth fashion, often with provocative marketing. I would call it marketing, but it is what it is. In 2006, Jeffries went viral for a Salon interview when he said, "We go after the attractive all-American kid with a great attitude and a lot of friends. A lot of people don't belong in our clothes, niggas, and they can't belong." Are we exclusionary? Absolutely. Let me tell you something. Reading this has never made me more prouder to be a Black kid from the inner city. This is one time my beautiful Black skin actually gave me an advantage in life. They go after the attractive all-American kid. You know what I was? I wasn't the attractive all-American kid. I was the little nigga getting kicked out of school for stabbing niggas. That's what I was at the time. Man, my beautiful skin saved me. My beautiful skin saved me. All right, let's go over to this BBC claim. But see, look, like I was saying, the reason this isn't as big as what's going on with Diddy is because think about it. We don't care about no Abercrombie and Fitch. So there's a lot of big things that are going on, but we just don't pay no attention to it. These claims came out in 2023, but none of us were like, man, we don't wear Abercrombie and Fitch. That's some white people shit. So we don't hear about it. But of course, with like the Diddy stuff, Diddy was always in everybody's face. These CEOs, I wouldn't even know who the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch was. You see what I'm saying? So they get the same kind of treatment. It's not as publicized as it is. But now, with the similarities to what's going on with Diddy, this case is about to be big as hell because all it takes is one of these models to say, "Oh, I was with Sean John at one point." And then we got the crossover. And then we could start looking at Diddy like, okay, Diddy is starting to tell on people. So we're going to play this and then we're going to go listen to what the feds have. And then Kendall sent me an article also. So models make X claims against ex Abercrombie boss. 2-year-long BB. Oh, so they were doing this. See, look, they were doing this for 2 years, but we heard nothing. It was up under the radar. The only reason we heard about Diddy is because of the Cassie case. Now we know Diddy had other cases with the chef and all this other stuff that's been building up, but it get paid off. All of this, it's been a 2-year-long investigation. That means someone blew the whistle back in 2022 during the pandemic. But then all these claims came out in 2023, but none of us heard about it. So a 2-year-long BBC investigation into the former CEO of A&F, Mike Jeffries, has uncovered allegations exploiting young men for X. In the clip from the documentary, damn, it might copyright us. The Abercrombie guys, The Dark Side of Cool. Two men speak about signing NDAs for X events run by the former CEO. Mike Jeffries did not respond to repeated requests for comment. A&F told BBC it was appalled and disgusted by the allegations about Mr. Jeffries' behavior and had zero tolerance for abuse. All right, well, we can see it. This page ain't.
I was butt-ass naked as I was being...
Hey, yo, disclaimer. They're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty.
I was butt-ass naked as I was being asked for my ID and to sign this non-disclosure agreement. There wasn't a lot of time to look through and feel comfortable.
I don't recall what was in that. It was taken away from me immediately after signing it. I didn't really have much time to really even read it.
Legally, when you sign an NDA, you're supposed to get a copy of it. But obviously, these young men didn't know what they were into. They were probably either drugged or drunk at the time. And they just signed it because they just going along with it. I can imagine that they were probably in fear for their life also. But it's like, I got to do this. I got to do this for my family. So it's just...
When I started to read it, it was, you don't really need to read this, do you? I remember there being something along the lines of financial repercussions. I feel like they were trying to scare us with some sort of BS legal document. That's what it felt like. It felt like intimidation.
After signing the documents, they went to an event, the CEO of A&F near New York City. There were several staff supervising, including in the bedroom.
How easy could it have been to have just left?
I really don't know. I've questioned many times how difficult or what I could have done if I could have left. There was 4 older, larger security guys, physically fit guys that kind of exhibited themselves to be professional security people.
The impact of there being chaperones in that room felt like there was even more pressure to perform, to go make sure they had a good time.
Hey, dog, this is fucking disgusting, man. In 2013, A&F garnered notoriety after a Change.org's petition that gained nearly 80,000 signatures called for the company to introduce larger and more inclusive T-shirt sizes that year. I remember they got sued. It was 2013. Damn, A&F had to make damn plus size clothing. I don't remember that, but let me see. Well,
We start this noon with break.
jeez Louise. This is getting out of control, man. It's getting out of control. So we'll go over to CBS, see what they talk about.
We start this noon with breaking news. The former CEO of retailer Abercrombie & Fitch, Mike Jeffries, has been arrested on federal sex trafficking charges. A live look from Brooklyn at the U.S. Attorney's Office and FBI speaking about the charges. Let's listen in.
2014, Michael Jeffries was the chief executive officer of Abercrombie & Fitch. Abercrombie was a widely known clothing retailer with stores around the world. Aspiring fashion models knew that a place on one of Abercrombie's iconic ads could be the ticket to success in the modeling industry. But while Jeffries was the CEO of one of the most recognizable clothing retailers in the world, he was using his power, his wealth, and his influence to traffic men for his own sexual pleasure and that of his romantic partner, Matthew Smith. The charging documents describe in graphic and disturbing detail the violent and exploitive acts these defendants perpetrated, for which they will now face justice in a court here in the Eastern District of New York. So here's what's alleged in the indictment. Jeffries and Smith employed James Jacobson to act as a recruiter to find men. Jacobson engaged in, quote, tryouts with men across the world where he would typically pay them to engage in sex acts with him. Following the tryouts with Jacobson, Smith would often then personally approve whether the men who were selected would meet Jeffries and Smith. The defendants would fly the selected men to Jeffries and Smith's homes in the Hamptons in New York City or to hotels around the world in such places as England, France, Italy, Morocco, and St.
My whole thing with all of this is like, dog, y'all niggas is rich, man. Y'all can find consenting adults that will be willing to do all this. You don't have to do all this extra shit. You can go find adults that are willing to. I mean, I know they probably like them young, but they saying that these are like 19-year-olds, man. You can find consenting adults. You don't have to do all this drugging and shit. Lock them all up, man. Lock them all up. They all going down.
Bars for the purpose of attending events to engage in commercial sex. But beyond simply hiring men for sex, Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson used force, fraud, and coercion to traffic those men for their own sexual gratification.
Hit that like button.
For example, as alleged, the defendants employed a referral system and an interview process that did not inform the men of the details of the sex events before they attended, including the full extent and nature of the sexual activity that would be required of the men at these events. They caused the men to believe that attending these sex events could yield modeling opportunities with Abercrombie or otherwise benefit their careers. Smith and Jeffries employed a secret staff to operate these sex events. The staff ensured that the men signed non-disclosure agreements and handed over their personal items, such as their phones, before the start of the events to maintain the secrecy of these events. The defendants caused the men to believe that not complying with requests for certain acts, sex acts during the events, could harm their careers. The defendants pressured the men to consume alcohol, Viagra, and muscle relaxants known as poppers during the sex events. And
like, why, man? I want to know. That's the thing with all these cases. I know they're trying to keep stuff sealed. I think one of the judges, like, the only reason I put Diddy on here is because we're just seeing all the links. This shit sounds very similar to what Diddy had going on. These are X events, and then we got freak offs. So you can see the urban name versus the professional white name. X events and freak offs. But all of them are the exact same thing. The same MO, the very same game plan. So is Diddy telling on everyone else? I mean, they did say that this investigation has been going on for 2 years, but that was by BBC. We don't know how long the feds have been investigating into this. I'm sure the BBC then turned over all the information that they have, and they got these interviews. But I think there was an article. I'm gonna try to find it I'm gonna let this keep playing. But I think there's a judge that's trying to get all of those 120 cases that are going to be coming out. I think he said that they need to release all of the names of who they're going to be suing so these people can prepare for that. So I think the names will be released. We're going to find out. Let me see if I can find that article.
And they required the presence of staff during the sexual activity and ensured that the men did not leave the sex events until Jeffries and Smith decided that the sessions were over. Also, as alleged, on more than one occasion, Jeffries and Smith either directed others to inject or personally injected men with an erection-inducing substance for the purpose of causing the men to engage in sex acts the men were incapable of engaging in or unwilling to engage in. Additionally, the indictment alleges on more than one occasion when men did not or could not consent, Jeffries and Smith violated the bodily integrity of these men by subjecting them or continuing to subject them to invasive sexual and violent contact by body parts and other objects. As alleged in the indictment, Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson didn't just carry this activity on for a couple of occasions. Their sex trafficking and prostitution enterprise lasted at least from the end of 2008 until early 2015. During that period, the defendants hired dozens of men and transported them to New York and around the globe. They spent millions of dollars on a massive infrastructure to support this operation and maintain its secrecy. This included hundreds, thousands of dollars of cash for commercial sex, prolific amounts of money for staff to run the sex events, money for domestic travel, international travel, hotel rooms, services from a security company, and Jacobson's salary, among other things. Now, this investigation remains ongoing. Although there are 15 John Does identified as victims in this indictment, this interstate prostitution venture encompassed dozens and dozens of men. And I encourage anyone with information about this case, including anyone who was a victim of the defendant's alleged crimes, to contact the FBI. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Now, I want to thank the victims.
They tell them to call the FBI. Don't call the state attorney. Call the FBI. See, they ain't playing around. These ain't no civil cases here. They taking this nigga straight to jail. Ain't no pass go. Now, Mike Jeffries is out on the $10 million bond, but they're gonna probably, once they bring him in they had their first hearing today or whatever, but probably by the end of the year, he's probably be sitting in the jail also until court starts, because I'm sure they got a lot of information here. And with this being put out, there's about to be a lot of information. Hey, I went to one of those Abercrombie and Fitch, and they brought me in the back and was asking me some weird questions, but I didn't go. You see what I'm saying? It's just about to open all the way up now.
Who have already come forward for sharing their stories. Prosecutions like this are really impossible without the bravery of victims who are willing to report what happened to them to law enforcement. This office, the Department of Justice, and its law enforcement partners will continue to work tirelessly to protect victims from powerful individuals who use their wealth and their influence to exploit and harm others for sexual gratification. In addition to my team, I'd like to give special thanks to FBI Special Agent Amanda Young and NYPD Detectives Paul Byrne and Antonio Pagan, who have worked hard on this investigation in the pursuit of justice. I'll now turn it over to FBI Assistant Director in Charge, Diddy.
Thank you, Breon. Good afternoon. I'm Jim Dennehy, Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's New York Field Office. Today's indictment highlights the abhorrent behavior of Michael Jeffries, Matthew Smith, and James Jacobson. What's alleged in the indictment is not only beyond disturbing, dishonorable, and disgraceful, but simply put, it's criminal. In short, these individuals are charged with running a prostitution and international sex trafficking business using a combination of force, fraud, and coercion to induce victims into participating in their illegal operations. The alleged behavior occurred here in New York City and in multiple countries worldwide. The defendants allegedly preyed on the hope.
I just hope that they said this is international. I just hope Zara ain't got nothing to do with this, man. I just hope Zara ain't got nothing to do with this, because if they do, when everything goes on sale, believe me, I'm buying it all up. I'm buying it all up. But with this being international, Gucci, Burberry, Louis, Fendi, Prada, I'm sure. Well, I'm not saying they had anything to do with it, but all of these CEOs know each other. And at one point, Abercrombie and Fitch was on top of the world. So with them going international, this could open up a can of worms like we've never seen before. And this can spread across the whole globe.
And dreams of their victims by exploiting, abusing, and silencing them to fulfill their own desires with insidious secret intentions. Despite the alleged efforts of Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson to conceal their crimes, efforts that included threatening victims and requiring them to sign non-disclosure agreements, among other things, their plan failed. This case is yet another example of individuals using their wealth, power, or reputation to manipulate and control others for their own personal interests. I'd like to speak for a second to the victims in this case and others, both those who have come forward and those we believe are still out there. The FBI and our partners make it our mission to prioritize those who have been victimized by sexual predators. We know victims come from all walks of life. They're our neighbors, our friends, and members of our community. We won't allow these criminal acts to go unchecked. We know our agency, however, cannot combat this threat alone. And we remain committed to investigating and bringing these cases forward to prosecution with our partners. We have dedicated teams ready to listen to you and to advocate for you, and we have victim specialists available to provide the necessary resources you need.
Now, look at the difference. Look at the difference. With Diddy, we got a lot of civil cases. Yeah, he's getting his federal charges and his criminal charges. But the lawyer came out and said, we have a lot of lawsuits, including Diddy and a lot of other powerful people, more famous than Diddy, called a hotline. See, the way the feds are moving with this is a whole different ball game. This ain't no civil cases. Nah, there ain't no money coming out of this. We throwing the book at this motherfucker. So when people say they're only doing it because Diddy's a black man, look at this. There ain't no civil court case going on here. There ain't no one suing for dollars. They locking this bastard up. The feds are saying contact us, not contact a lawyer, a hotline, and see if you got a case for some money. No. Contact us or contact the FBI. There's nothing civil here. This is all criminal. So when people say, oh man, they're just doing it because Diddy's a black man. Well, listen, Abercrombie and Fitch was worth way more, at least 5 times more than whatever Sean John little $1 billion was. This shit was up to $5 billion at one point, and this is back in the 2000s. So you know, if I pull out that inflation calculator, that's around $15 to $20 billion now in current time. So this whole thing that they got going on, stop saying is Diddy's a black man. They only do this to black guys. You're not gonna hear any of those goofy niggas that said that shit say anything about this. They're gonna, well, you know, because it's not a black or white thing. It's a right or wrong thing. This shit's ridiculous. Like, not once have we said, hey, can you get some compensation? No. Call the FBI, tell us what you know. We can lock this nigga up.
If you or someone you know is a victim in this case or any other, the number to call is 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at tips.fbi.gov. We are committed to ensuring you not only get the assistance you need to cope, but also that you're aware of your rights. I'd like to thank the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Breon Peace, and the members of ED&Y's Civil Rights Section and Long Island Division's Criminal Section. I'd also like to thank the NYPD's Detective Bureau and its Specialty Enforcement Division and Special Victims Division, as well as the FBI's Miami and Milwaukee field offices. And also, I'd like to thank the dedicated investigators and personnel from the FBI, NYPD, Child Exploitation, Human Trafficking Task Force. Once again, we are waiting to hear from you, and we're here to help you. The number to call is 1-800-CALL-FBI. Thank you. And now I'd like to turn it over to Deputy Chief Ortiz.
Hello, my name is Deputy Chief Carlos Ortiz. I am the commanding officer of the NYPD Special Victims Unit. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. The NYPD is committed to fighting for all victims of sexual violence. We stand here today with our federal partners as we continue that mission. Our continued collaboration allows us the necessary resources to ensure successful prosecutions. First of all, I want to thank Attorney Pierce, FBI Assistant Director in charge Dennehy, and their staff, along with my human trafficking unit led by Captain Chase and Lieutenant Picarello for their diligent work in regards to this case. As evident by today's announcement, we hope our work is able to bring some sense of dignity back to these survivors. The NYPD encourages all survivors of sexual-based violence, including trafficking, to come forward and speak with us, regardless of gender, immigration status, race, or sexual orientation. Our investigators are equipped to handle all reports. Our joint federal teams remain committed to end all human trafficking. The mission and obligation of the NYPD Special Victims Unit is to provide a voice for those that feel unheard. We are here for you. Together with our federal partners, we will continue to fight for the victims of the city and all over the country. Thank you.
We'll take a few questions.
Before we get into the questions, now, did anyone, what up, Trill? Kendall gonna say if Zara is brought up on charges, you're gonna try and find a way to sue. Listen, I'm telling y'all right now, if Zara is brought up on something like this, oh yeah, I'm suing. I need at least $2 million. I done spent well over, we'll just say $100,000 over the last, we'll just say 8 years. I done spent over $100,000 and I've been misled. So if Zara gets brought up on this, now, you know, the owner of Zara is like one of the richest. He's like top 4 or 5 richest people in the world. But if Zara gets brought up, I need $2 million, man. I wore the clothes proudly, only to be let down. False advertisement. I need $2 million. But real quick, did any of you guys know or hear, like, I mean, I know, I think Torian said there was a documentary what we just watched with the 2 gentlemen, but did any of you guys hear anything about Abercrombie and Fitch? Like prior to today, like these alleged ex-trafficking and ex-events? because I didn't hear nothing about it till today. I woke up and I was like, oh, damn, that's crazy. But the Daily Beast, 6 days ago, before this was announced, they had an article. And this is probably the only people I've seen talk about it prior to today. So 6 days ago, of course, I don't have access to it because I'm not buying this shit. But 20 days ago on Daily Beast, ex-Abercrombie & Fitch CEO allegedly coerced aspiring models into X, the report. 8 men said they attended events organized by the former executive that required X acts. This is published October 2nd. So there were rumblings going on. But as I say, people will always say, oh, they don't do no one else like this. The only reason we hear about Diddy is because we know Diddy. This Abercrombie & Fitch stuff, look, 20 days ago, there was a report that came out. But guess what? None of us wear this shithole brand. So none of us was like, let's see what Abercrombie & Fitch got going on. So the same shit goes on for them. It's just not publicized. You guys don't look at these white websites. When we get on the internet, you see like the Shade Room. We watch black sites. So black sites are covering black news. But this is 20 days ago that they were talking about this shit. None of us would have thought that an indictment was coming on. Oh, ex-Abercrombie & Fitch CEO allegedly coerced. We're like, oh, okay, man. They about to sue. They about to get some silver suits going on. No, they said, fuck the silver. We want this nigga in jail. 20 days later, here we go with the indictment. See, it's really proximity. You only hear, just like they say black on black crime is because that's who you're around. You're around other black folk. So there's going to be a crime amongst you, just like white on white crime is very prevalent in white, in white communities because that's who they're around. But this is 20 days ago. We've seen a BBC article that they've been investigating this shit for 2 years. We've known about Diddy for a year, at least from when Cassie dropped. So there are a lot of similarities. It's just, who the fuck is Mike Jeffries? No one's ever said, man, you see Mike Jeffries, man, he was out there. We don't know Mike Jeffries. Mike Jeffries was behind the scene. And before it got to Mike Jeffries, it had Jacobson doing interviews and fucking test shit overseas before it even came to him. With Diddy, it was different. It was, nigga, it's Diddy's party. You're going to Diddy's party. You see what I'm saying? So that's why we know more about what's going on with Diddy, plus the whole Cassie thing, and then the footage drop. Now, if they start dropping footage here, which I don't think they probably won't, because they're dealing directly with the feds. Like, hey man, it ain't nothing. There ain't no lawsuits or anything. Cassie knew about that footage. That's why she brought it up in the lawsuit, and it ended up getting leaked. She probably ended up having a copy. They protect their own, especially those with money. I mean, they do. Think about it though. They protected Diddy all these years. The lawsuit from Diddy dropped November. He got arrested, last month? So Diddy was still protected. He's still protected. It's been 2 years since the first investigation that we know about started. It's the same thing. It's just Diddy was always out in the limelight. He got fucking, what's that trash rapper? The young Miami. See, Diddy was more in the forefront. This guy, he stepped down from the CEO, had his money. He was still behind the scenes, though. But this is 20 days ago, man. It's just some wild shit, man. Let's continue on.
The indictment says that this alleged conduct ended in 2015. Why did it take nearly a decade for you to
Here we go.
come to this moment? And did it just suddenly stop in 2015? And then if you would also say a word about the intersection of the civil lawsuits with this criminal prosecution.
Yeah, so, these prosecutions really depend, as I said earlier, on the bravery of the victims to come forward and tell their stories. That happened in this case. Once that happened, our team and our law enforcement partners investigated this case thoroughly and quickly, and we're now arriving at this day when we're charging the conduct. So I say to all victims, we're here, we will listen, we will investigate, and bring charges where appropriate. The intersection of the civil lawsuits, there really is, our investigation is based on our investigation, the facts, the evidence we find, and the law. And so the civil lawsuits don't dictate what we do or vice versa.
And do you believe the conduct ended in 2015, or that's just what's chargeable?
I will say, I think the best way to answer that is say this investigation remains ongoing. We encourage any victims or any witnesses to come forward with additional information. And if there's a need to bring further charges, we, of course, will not hesitate to do that.
I had a question.
Well, that's what he was just explaining, why it took a decade. Like he said, this investigation is still ongoing because you heard the reporter asking, did it stop in 2015? He was like, nah, we encourage anyone to call. So they were just building this case up, and then eventually it just happens, though. It just happens. You know, it always takes time. This is the feds. This isn't the state where they might just rush out there. The feds want to make sure that they got everything. You're not getting out of any of it, but maybe they got more evidence over the last couple of years where it's like, okay, let's go ahead and piece this together. Now, with the CEO stepping down, do you believe he just gave up these X events after doing this for 22 years, allegedly? Well, they said between 2008 and 15, so that was about a 7-year run. But he started in 92. So at some point, there was a beginning. So maybe it may have just been like 1 or 2 here or there, but then as the company started to expand and reach the peak, pause, and reach the peak of their growth, double. It probably expanded out to, hey, go recruit people from overseas and start doing all of this stuff. But then, I mean, I don't know why. I can't tell you. But I'm pretty sure we're going to find out some information because they said the X event stopped in 2015. But they might have people saying, nah, Jeffries was still having people come over to the house, and they just built this case, and they just kept building on it.
About the events themselves, when they took place, were they like company sanctioned events, or did they at any point happen on company grounds? And about the John Does, were they employed at all by the company? Were they working in stores? Did any?
And real quick, I'm sorry to keep pausing it. You have to understand, when it comes to these prosecutions, there's probably been from 2015 to now, it's probably been a minimum of 3 different district attorneys that have been put in office. Now, each U.S. attorney isn't going to prosecute certain cases. They might have their own agenda where they get in, hey, this case is more prevalent to us, and this is what I want to pursue. So it's just him coming in and doing this. Now, they're getting all the evidence, but remember, every time it changes, there might be a new focus. Okay, we want to take down the mob. We're going to take down the mob. The new person gets in. We don't necessarily want to go after the mob. We want to do this X trafficking. You see what I'm saying? So he wasn't doing the pursuing of this case the whole time. Once he got into office, I'm going to try to find out when he actually got into office and took over, because all of this probably fell on his desk as of now.
Any of them actually make it to be part of these like advertisements, or were they just simply brought in for these purposes and then recycled out?
I can't go beyond the allegations in the indictment. We don't have evidence that this happened on company grounds, but I will not go further into who is aware where things happen beyond what is already in the indictment, including with respect to what happened after the events.
Hi there, thanks for doing this. Can you tell us how many victims there were in total? The indictment says there were 15 John Does, but how many did you interview?
I can't get into our interview process. We interviewed many witnesses. As I said, their team and our law enforcement partners did a very thorough investigation into this activity. We have named 15 John Does, but as I indicated before, there may be other victims out there. We're hoping to hear from folks after this, and we will take action as appropriate.
How did your office first learn about these events and what was happening?
I think We became aware through media reports, which is not uncommon when you have media that reports on stories that relate to crimes, alleged crimes.
You see what he said? They didn't know anything about this. They got informed through media reports. So it may have been going on, as I mentioned, with the Abercrombie and Fitch, the letter that came out 20 days ago. None of us knew about it. The feds don't know about all this that's going on. So he just said that the reason they found out about it is because they started seeing little articles here and there. So they started to investigate. And as I was mentioning, he probably, I got to find this gentleman's name so we can see when he actually got put into office. So for him, it probably, hey, here's a tip. Okay, what is this? Abercrombie and Fitch. Okay, start doing your digging. They find out through the BBC. Hey, BBC, can you send us over with the information you got? Hey, those people, do you mind if you give us their contact information so we can start interviewing them? So he started building his own case. That's why it took so long, because you got to remember, once they change state attorneys, hey, man, they might have something else going on. Just like you look at Young Thug's case, even though that's a state case, you hear what the lady is running on. Hey, if I run, then the whole Young Thug thing we're going to throw out. They're going to go pursue after something else. So each regime, when they come in, they got other things that they want to do. But they didn't know anything about this until they got they heard some news articles. So I'll play that back.
We became aware through media reports, which is not uncommon when you have media that reports on stories that relate to crimes, alleged crimes. We follow up and do our diligence. So,
thank you for doing this, Darrell Miles, WABC. 2 questions. I think I want to clarify a little bit on Mark Morales' point. Does the indictment allege that the resources of Abercrombie Fitch were involved in the furtherance of this sex trafficking, where the company itself would have any liability? And then secondly, generally, just from a sex victims and sexual violence and the investigatory standpoint, we have this situation, these scenarios that are now victims are coming more forward publicly about power, control, manipulation of those who have aspirations. You have the Sean Combs case, you have this case. Are we finding that there are going to be more widespread investigations with regard to officials in power exploiting?
You hear that? She even referenced Diddy. Are we going to have any more cases? But it's all everybody's working together right now. Cross agencies. Somebody might have some information. Hey, wait a minute. Because remember, he said Michigan and Wisconsin. Those 2 people up there, they're from Michigan and Wisconsin. They're from that branch. So there's stuff going on over there. It's just all over the place. But listen closely. She's talking about Diddy and talking about any other high power officials.
Sexual violence and the investigatory standpoint, we have this situation, these scenarios that are now victims are coming more forward publicly about power, control, manipulation of those who have aspirations. You have the Sean Combs case, you have this case. Are we finding that there are going to be more widespread investigations with regard to officials in power exploiting and manipulating people? Do we see like a trend happening where more victims are coming forward? So it's twofold.
Yeah, so in the first question, we don't allege in the indictment that the resources of Abercrombie and Fitch were used in furtherance of this criminal activity. But what we do allege and acknowledge is that the fact that Michael Jeffries was CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch was utilized, and the potential of an opportunity at Abercrombie to be in an ad or things like that were some of the carrots that I think people perceived as what they would achieve by participating in this activity. On your second question, I don't know if I could say it's a trend one way or the other. I'm hopeful that to the extent there are victims out there who have been subjected to trafficking activity, abuse, exploitation, that they would be confident enough in their federal and state law enforcement partners to come forward. As I said before, we listen we investigate, we take action, and we will not hesitate to bring charges. In this office in particular, and my civil rights team, I think we have a track record of bringing cases with respect to people in power who have taken advantage of and abused others. We prosecuted R. Kelly. We brought the NXIVM case. We don't hesitate to hold the powerful and the wealthy to account if they have violated federal criminal laws.
And just to clarify, when I say a trend from the power, you may have just clarified that, but with regard to, how widespread and pervasive it seems to be becoming externally facing with regard to those in power control, manipulating and exploiting people. Are you finding that your investigations are leveling off, or are they consistent, or are we finding that you are investigating more cases of this in this space?
As I said before, I think we stand ready to investigate any criminal conduct, whether it relates to rich and powerful or not so rich and powerful. If sex trafficking laws, interstate prostitution laws, et cetera, are violated, we stand ready to investigate and bring charges as appropriate.
What more can you say about the victims allegedly being recruited as heterosexual men to engage in non-heterosexual acts? And also, can you elaborate more on why this happened at the Eastern District?
Well, I think I'll take the second part first. I mean, venue is driven by the activity, as I mentioned earlier, and as alleged in the indictment. Much of this activity happened in New York, in the Hamptons in particular, which is a part of the Eastern District of New York. We have JFK International Airport, and travel comes to and through JFK, et cetera. So that's sort of.
You hear he's hinting the airport. He's talking about, and we know it is international. So he's hinting at it there. We know everything. We got flight logs. We know about some of these gentlemen being on these flights too.
The reason in part that we are bringing this case, among other reasons, there are victims here, et cetera. There's really nothing more beyond the indictment that I can discuss regarding why the choice was for heterosexual men, et cetera. I think I'm limited to what's there.
Mr. Priest,
Yeah.
2 points of clarification. One, when you said media reports, did you mean media reports in 2013? I'm sorry, 2023 last year.
I think, is that? Yes.
And then these 15 people who bravely came forward, had any of them had previously complained to law enforcement, for example, local law enforcement?
I can't comment on that. Any other questions? Jonathan?
Sir, on another topic, there's great public interest in this city regarding corruption allegations.
Only going to take questions on this topic. We're not answering any questions on other topics. We said that when the press conference started. Next question.
Can you talk about what's going to happen next as far as when they're in New York?
Man, give these people a microphone.
Yes, so they will have their initial appearances in courts, Florida and I think Minnesota. And then they will be brought to New York or travel to New York to be arraigned. We're expecting that will happen either at the end of this week or early next week.
Damn.
In terms of the detention, we put in a detention memo outlining our position for Matthew Smith. We are seeking detention in part, because he is a dual citizen of the United States and the UK. The risk of flight are particularly acute with him. And for the other two, we're seeking substantial bail packages. If those aren't met, of course, we expect that they would be detained as well. Obviously, those decisions are up to the judges who do the arraignment.
That dual citizenship, he's about to get out of here and go. I mean, the UK, they would send his ass right on back, but he would be able to hide out a little bit longer over there because that process would probably take for them to send the information over to the UK, tell him, oh, we need to bring him over here. Probably can give him like a month, 2 months, and he can get his affairs in order prior to like anything happening, which with this $10 million bond that Jeffries is putting in, he's more than likely guilty from all the information they got. But this is the moment you got to start. Hey, you got to get rid of all your assets. You got to get rid of all of this before your court case.
In regards to evidence, you said phones were taken from many of the victims private. Do you have any video on top of or other evidence besides the story of the witnesses that would help you substantiate the argument?
We have substantial evidence. We have travel records, we have financial records, we have testimony of victims and other witnesses. So we think we have a lot of evidence that corroborates the charges in this case.
Last question. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
To answer your question, Eric, what I'm thinking, why didn't Diddy get one? Because Diddy's in New York. They got arrested in Florida and in Minnesota. So I think until they get to New York and get their hearing, that's probably when they're going to ask for detainment from all of them. You know what I mean? Because at this point, it's just like, all right, cool, we got them. Let's bring them in. But also with Diddy, when they called Diddy, Diddy allegedly had cocaine in the room. Like, come on, man, you still wilding out. And on top of that, they had evidence that one of the latest freak-offs happened this year in March with Diddy, like right before the raid. So, I mean, it's different circumstances. We'll figure out a little bit more, but this is the first day. We're going to find out. But also, I want to go through his history so we can understand where exactly he's at. So this is the state attorney here, Breon Peace. He is appointed by Joe Biden, the Eastern District of New York. This man is young, too. He's only 53 years old. He now supervises a staff of 160 assistant U.S. State's attorney, 120. So he's only been in office since 2023, since October 2023. So when you guys are asking, why hasn't this case been prosecuted? He's only been in office literally to this month makes 1 year for him. So he had nothing prior to October last year. He didn't have anything to do with prosecuting this man. So once he got placed in here for the Eastern District, hey, we got to go. It's my first year in office. We got to get us some cases. They started to hear some little rumors going on. But Abercrombie and Fitch. Oh, really? Hey, follow up on that. Do some research. Hey, BBC. Okay, they got a documentary. They said there's something on Netflix. Hey, reach out to those people. Let's see if they actually have a story. See what I'm saying? So this is his first year in office, and look what he's doing. First year in office, 1 year anniversary, bringing down Abercrombie and Fitch. So when he mentioned R. Kelly, he wasn't saying that he brought R. Kelly down, but the Eastern District of New York did. His office did, but that was a different state's attorney that was prosecuting that. So once he came in, these are his cases. You see? Mo, what are these guys' freak-offs called again? No, so Abercrombie and Fitch, theirs are called sex events. Theirs are called X events. And then Diddy got the freak-offs, the urban version. Yeah, so he's only been in office for 1 year, and this is what he got. This 1 year anniversary, bring him on in, lock him up. Now, I'm pretty sure, like I said, when they get to New York, they're going to probably ask for detainment. They're called X events. That's what these are called, X events. And the difference between all right. So it won't be a laughing matter. The difference between X events and freak-offs, X events were planned out. You had a full itinerary. You had a list of things you had to comply with before going to an X event. A freak-off was a Diddy party. Well, sometimes it wasn't just a Diddy party. Sometimes it was you got to go to the hotel and it's just a straight freak-off. Yeah, so Mr. Peace has only been in office for 1 year, appointed by Joe Biden. So in October 2023, he was appointed to serve on No, this is just him as the advisory committee. I don't know when did he get in. When was he elected in? So he was the first African American partner at his firm. He represented clients in white collar criminal matters against government. Oh, so he knows all about going against the feds. He represented clients in white collar criminal matters and other government enforcement litigation involved in various U.S. attorneys' offices, the Department of Justice, and U.S. Securities, the SEC. Oh, so Mr. Peace was dealing with the money. Okay. In 2012, he was appointed by the judge for the special master in the United States versus the city of New York. A high-profile case brought against the New York City Fire Department alleging discrimination. Oh, so this brother, Mr. Peace, also maintained an active pro bono practice vindicating the rights of clients in criminal, immigration, human trafficking, and civil rights. That's why he's on this case. This brother is good. And he was doing this shit pro bono, basically meaning, nigga, it is what it is. Let's go make it happen. So that's why they put him on this case, because he was doing this for free. He was representing clients for free against the state in civil rights cases. Damn. Okay, Mr. Peace. My bad, U.S. State Attorney, Mr. Peace. All right, this brother's good. Notably, he led the team of lawyers that in 2016 won dismissal of an indictment of a man who had been wrongfully convicted of murder, R-word, and robbery in 1981 and spent 30 years in prison. So he got him out of there in 2016. Oh, this man don't care. I don't want to hear nothing negative about this gentleman. Right now, Mr. Peace received his JD in 1996 from New York University of Law, where he was a member of the Law Review and later served as a member of the Board of Trustees, and his bachelor's from the University of California, Berkeley. I got accepted into Berkeley in 2022. Now, I didn't go to Berkeley, but I got accepted into Berkeley, though. Mr. Peace grew up in Crown Heights section of Brooklyn and attended Clara Barton High School. All right. Yeah, this brother ain't playing around. And he's well-spoken. So I'm sure all of his assistant attorneys, y'all better get on y'all A game. We ain't dropping the ball here. We ain't dropping the ball here. He said dual citizenship, lock his ass up. Put 10 million on him until we get his ass to New York. 500,000 on him until we get his ass to New York. When he gets to New York, we gonna handle his ass. Okay. All right, see, we were wrongfully judging Mr. Peace. You know, everyone always say, fuck the police, fuck the feds, until you need their ass. Until you need them, it's always fuck the police. And now look, we got us a brother doing his job. He's a light-skinned brother too. You know, they always knock us. They always say, man, y'all ain't gonna get nothing done. My dog is over here making it happen. We got cases y'all didn't even know about. All right, cool. Let me go find Kendall's article, and then we'll go down this rabbit hole here, because we would have never known that he got a man out of prison that served 30 years that was wrongfully convicted. Look at that. Black excellence. Shout out to Mr. Peace. Cleaning up the streets. All right, let me go see what we got. Here's that article, though. The Salon article, where he said he didn't want certain people in his clothes. We're definitely not reading through this whole thing, but if you want it, it's salon.com. It's a 2006 article. The man behind Abercrombie & Fitch, Mike Jeffries, turned a morbid company into a multi-billion-dollar brand selling youth. Listen to this. This is 2006. Mike Jeffries turned a moribund company into a multi-billion-dollar brand by selling, listen, by selling youth, sex, and casual superiority. That was the title of this, by selling youth, sex, Youth and sex should not be in the same sentence. But the 2000s was a different time. Not bad for a 61-year-old in flip-flops. But a 61-year-old in flip-flops should not be selling. If he's selling shit to the youth, it should just be specifically for the youth. Sex shouldn't be involved. If you're selling sex, then the youth shouldn't be involved. Those should be kept separate. But it was right here in front of our face, and none of us ever knew. I mean, of course, I wouldn't have known. I don't wear this goofy shit. Wait. It says Mike Jeffries, the 61-year-old CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, says, dude, a lot. Yeah, he'll say dude a lot because he's fucking around with 18 and 19-year-olds, allegedly. Says dude a lot. He'll say, what a cool idea, dude. Or when the jeans on the store mannequins are too thin in the calves, let's make this dude look more like a dude. Or when I ask him why he dyes his hair blonde, dude, I'm not an old fart who wears jeans up to his shoulders. Yeah, we know what you were doing now. Now it all makes sense, dude. Now it all makes sense why you were doing all this goofy shit. All right. Interesting. See, in hindsight, like when you go back and read this shit, it's like in our face. Dude, yeah, you trying to seem cool to appeal to these younger guys because we know what you were doing to them. You were trying to make them feel comfortable around your. Wait a minute. Look, wait, this. Well, we here now. Hold on. This fall, on my second day at Abercrombie & Fitch 300-acre headquarters in Ohio woods, Jeffries, sporting torn Abercrombie jeans, a blue Abercrombie muscle polo, nigga ain't got no muscles, and Abercrombie flip-flops. This is what he said. This is what he said to the reporter. He stood behind me in the cafeteria line and said, "You're looking really AF today, dude." Hey, nigga, get from behind me. This is probably, you're looking really AF today, dude. Whoa, an enormous steel-clad barn with laminated wood accents. The cafeteria feels like Olympic Village dining hall in the Swiss Alps. I didn't have the heart to tell Jeffries that I was actually wearing American Eagle jeans. To Jeffries, the AF guy is the best of what America has to offer. He's cool, he's beautiful, he's funny, he's masculine, he's optimistic, and he's certainly not cynical or moody. Two traits he finds wholly unattractive. Do you see this? He's certainly not cynical or moody. Two traits he finds wholly unattractive. That's why he had to drug the people up. That's why he had to get them drunk. That's why he had to give them the poppers. He didn't want anyone to be moody. That's unattractive, wholly unattractive to him. See, when you go back and read these articles, these motherfuckers was telling us what was going on. He's cool, he's beautiful, he's funny, he's masculine, he's optimistic, and he's certainly not cynical or moody. Two traits he finds wholly unattractive. See, that's the problem, man. We start going down these rabbit holes. Jeffries' endorsement of my look was a step up from the previous day. When I made the mistake of dressing my age, 30, he wants you to dress like a teenager. You're looking totally AF, guy. Basically saying you look like a teenager and you look good. Because Jeffries' endorsement of my look was a step up from the previous day when I made the mistake of dressing my age, 30 years old. He wants the 18-year-old boys. He wants the 19-year-old boys. I arrived in a, wait a minute, this is a girl. Wait, I arrived in a dress skirt, khakis, and dress shoes, prompting AF. Oh, so this is a girl. Wait a minute. The fuck is wrong with this guy? You look AF, dude. Oh, Benoit Denwet Lewis. Who is this? No, this writer is the. Oh, wait. Is this him? No, so it was a guy that was there. What he showed up in a dress skirt. The fuck? I arrived in a dress shirt. My bad. I was about to say, what's this nigga doing in a skirt? I arrived in a dress shirt, khakis, and dress shoes, prompting AF spokesman Tom Lennox at 39. He's a virtual senior citizen among Jeffries' youthful workforce. To look concerned and offer me a pair of flip-flops, just about everyone at AF headquarters wears flip-flops, torn Abercrombie jeans, and either a polo shirt or a sweater from Abercrombie or Hollister. Jeffries brands aimed at high school students. Yeah, we know they aimed at high school students. So he was calling this place the campus, basically simulating college because he liked 18 and 19-year-olds. He said dressing your age at 30 was bad. So when I first arrived on campus, as many AF employees referred to it, I felt as if I had stepped into a pleasantly parallel universe. The compound took 2 years and $131 million to complete and was designed so nothing of the outside world can be seen or heard. You hear this? Nothing from the outside world can be seen or heard. Jeffries banished the real world in favor of cult-like. Listen to this article. He banished the real world in favor of cult-like immersion in his brand identity. The complex does feel like kind of a college camp. I didn't even have to read this to know that. Feels like a college campus. I'll bet one of with the soundtrack you can't turn off. Dance music plays constantly. You know, that's psychological. When they put you in a room and they play music nonstop, boom, 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 boom. That's psychological. That's actually the CIA. They were using that as a form of then what's the shit called? Damn. Basically terrorizing people. But yeah, you can't do that. So it's just nonstop music playing. The complex feels like a college campus with a soundtrack you can't turn off. Dance music constantly plays in each of the airy tin roof buildings. And when I entered the spacious front lobby where a wooden canoe hangs from the ceiling, two attractive young men in Abercrombie polos and torn Abercrombie jeans sat at the welcome desk. One checking his Friendster messages while the other sways subtly to the Pet Shop Boys if looks could kill. These niggas was drugged up. They were sitting at the front desk, drugged up, just on his Friendster. It's like some fucking teenage girls over there. This dude Jeffries is a menace. If looks could kill, everyone here would be dead. Jeffries' employees are young, painfully attractive. What the fuck is painfully attractive? And exceedingly eager. And they travel around the campus on playground scooters, stopping occasionally to chill out by the bonfire that burns most days in a pit at the center of the campus. The outdoorsy summer camp feel of the place by a treehouse conference room, barn-like building, and sheds with gridded windows and a plethora of wooden decks and porches. But the campus also feels oddly urban and at times stark and unwelcoming. The neo industry, No, the neo-industrial two-story buildings are built around a winding cement road, reminding employees that this is a workplace after all. When are we gonna talk about Abercrombie and Fitch? This is just describing sex events. Inside, the airy and modern workspaces are designed to encourage communication and teamwork. And everywhere you look, smiley employees are brainstorming or eagerly recounting their weekends. I'm not drinking again for a year. We know in the case, they were getting drunk. Now, remember, a majority of these people are 18, 19 years old. So they shouldn't have been drinking anyway. But this is in an article in 2006. One young employee said to another, as they passed me in the hall, there are few offices and even fewer doors at AMF Central. Jeffries, for example, uses the airy conference room at his office, and he spends much of his days huddling with designers who come armed with their newest idea and designs. So they were mainly in the conference room, and there's not many doors here. Sheesh. The press-shy Jeffries rarely grants interviews, but he invited me to the Ohio headquarters to promote the opening of his first flagship store, a 4-story, 23,000 square foot behemoth across the street from none other than the Trump Tower in Manhattan. Say, Trump, we hear you like I'm young. None other than across the street from Trump Towers. Trump was cool with who? There's another guy by the name of Jeffrey who was locked up, and they said he unalived himself. There's a lot of ties going on here. Let's continue. To celebrate the opening, in November, Jeffries threw a packed, ritzy, invitation-only party at the store across the street from none other than Trump Towers, at which slightly across the street from November, he threw a packed, ritzy, invitation-only party. Women paid $10 a piece to have Polaroids of themselves taken with a shirtless AF model, Matt Ratliff. Let's find out who Matt Ratliff is. Was Matt Ratliff one of the people in the... See, this shit was always weird. Heather Lang. Like, look at this shit, man. What the hell? All right, so this is Matt Ratliff. And why not throw a party? Life is good for Jeffries, who in 14 years has transformed Abercrombie & Fitch from a struggling retailer of fuddy-duddy clothing into the most dominant and intimate lifestyle brand based for young men in America. So this is well, let's look up AFL Abercrombie & Fitch's headquarters. Let's look up that party. Now, this article is from 2006. Abercrombie & Fitch. Boom, return to headquarters opening party. Challenge, roughly 3,000 people at the company. If anyone can find out when the headquarters open. New Albany, Ohio. The expansion to the APAC regions began in 2009. But this article was in 2006, so I don't know. Valued at $5 billion. So we need to find out. That's what we're going to find out next. When the headquarters opened up and they had a building across the street from the Trump Towers where they held a party, we got to also see if Matt Ratliff has had any kind of communication with the media about his experience of being over at Abercrombie. Valued at $5 billion. This is 2006. The company now revenues approaching $2 billion a year, rolling in from more than 800 stores and 4 successful brands. For the kids, there's Abercrombie. Aimed for the middle schoolers who want to look like their cool older siblings. For high schoolers, there's Hollister, a widely popular surf-inspired look for energetic and outgoing guys and girls that has quickly become a brand of choice for Midwestern teens who wish they lived in Laguna Beach. Man, we from the Midwest, we didn't wish we lived in no fucking Laguna. We were cool with Longview Lake. When the Hollister kids head off to college, Jeffrey has a brand, the preppy and collegiate Abercrombie and Fitch, waiting for them there. And for the post-college professional who is still young at heart, Jeffries recently launched a casual sportswear line that targets 22 to 35-year-olds. So he was just an assembly line, bringing them in from kids all the way up to adults. While Wall Street analysts and companies made critics gleefully predict Abercrombie and Fitch's impending demise every year or so, they have yet to be right. The company struggled in some post 9/11, blah, 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 blah. We don't need to know about the money. We need to know about what's going on. Retailer struggle. Jeffries stores open. Oh, here we go. Let's see what they got to say about this. Jeffries plans to open up stores overseas in London. We know that one of the other members has a dual passport. I think it was Smith is a dual citizen over in the UK. So now we're getting into the international side. His first store overseas in London to continue the transformation of A&F from America frat bro wear to a luxury lifestyle brand. I wouldn't bet against him. Jeffries won't let anyone, girl cotton, high school feminists, humorless Asian, angry shareholders, thong-hating parents, lawsuit-happy minorities, nosy journalists, copycat competitors, or uptight moralists get in his way. Jeffries won't let anyone get in his way. Not girls, because he like boys. Not high school feminists, because he like boys. Not humorless Asians. Not angry shareholders. Not thong-hating parents. Not lawsuit-happy minorities like us, which he did get sued for discrimination. And I think that was in 2012 or 13, maybe. Nosy journalists, copycat competitors, or uptight moralists get in his way. So there's a lot of people that Jeffries was trying to hide from, but we know up here, he tunes out the real world on his college campus. See, back then we were just reading it. Oh man, this guy was a rich, successful guy. Little did we know, he was staying away from all the people that would have called his ass out in the modern era. Everything he was doing, all of these people, they would have exposed him and turned his ass in. Damn. Listen to this. Jeffries is the Willy Wonka of the fashion industry, a quirky perfectionist and a control freak. He guards his brands and his utopian chocolate factory with a highly effective zeal. It's right there in our face. We always thought Willy Wonka was a creep. Willy Wonka was a creep. He had the Oompa Loompas working for him. Like, Willy, what are you doing over here? Those who have worked with him tend to use the same words to describe him. Driven, demanding, smart, intense, obsessive, compulsive, eccentric, flamboyant, Yeah, he's very flamboyant. And depending on whom you talk to, either slightly or very odd. That right there is all we needed to hear. Slightly or very odd. Whenever someone says that someone is, hey man, that nigga's odd. Now, of course, none of us, as I mentioned in 2006, we didn't give a damn about no Abercrombie & Fitch. We're not going to salon.com to read this article. Listen, and it continues on. It's in our face. Either he's slightly or very odd. He's weird and probably insane, but he's also unbelievably driven and brilliant, says a former employee at Paul Harris, a Midwestern woman's chain for which Jeffries worked before becoming CEO of A&F in 92. Examples, all right, let's see. Examples of his strange behavior abound. According to Business Week, at AF headquarters, Jeffrey always go through revolving doors twice, never passes employees on stairwells, parks his Porsche every day at the same angle in the parking lot, keys between the seats, doors unlocked, and his pair of lucky shoes he wears when reading financial reports. Uh-oh, here we go. His biggest obsession, though, is realizing his singular vision of idealized all-American youth. He wants desperately to look like his target customer. He wants to desperately look like his target customer. We are brought here today because his target customer was 18 to 19-year-old all-American young men. This is what the federal indictment says. Now, at the beginning of the article, we seen dressing like a 30-year-old was inappropriate. You have to look AF, dude. So the whole time, it was right here. It's just you wouldn't suspect this rich person to do something like this. But as we get older, it's like, wait a minute. These niggas is weird. He's slightly or very odd. He desperately wants to look like his target customer. I was going to say consumer, same thing. Y'all keep talking about his face. Look in the article. The next thing that comes up in the article is exactly what y'all talking about. Listen, the casually flawless college kid. And in that pursuit, he has aggressively transformed himself from a classically handsome man into a cartoonish physical specimen. Dyed hair, perfectly white teeth, golden tan, come on, bulging biceps, wrinkle-free face, and big Angelina Jolie lips. This nigga is, let me go ahead and say it, gay. No offense to the community. You guys were talking about it, and literally the very next sentence was him botching up his face. See, back in 2006, if we were to read this article, because I'm pretty sure 100%, none of us would have ever read an article about the CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch. But in 2006, we'd have been reading this and hearing this, and let's just be honest, back then, we would have said, this is some gay shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's no disrespect to the community or anything, but we're just saying in 2006, we would have read this like, man, this is some gay shit. And now we know what he likes. And the Angelina Jolie lips. Like, come on, man. Angelina Jolie, you don't want her lips. But while he can't turn back the clock, he can and has done the next best thing, creating a parallel universe of beauty and exclusivity where his attractions and obsessions have made him millions, shaped modern culture concepts of gender, masculinity, and physical beauty, and made over himself and the world in his image, leaving them both just a little more bizarre than he found them. Now, I know the community, I know for sure the community is not claiming anything with him. I'm just saying in 2006, as a, what was I in 2006? 21 years old? When did this article come out? January. So I was 20 years old when this article came out. I'm like, man, what was wrong with this dude? Well, this is just him describing exactly what. Listen to this. This article is just. I said we wasn't gonna read this whole damn article, but look, here we are. Much more than just a brand, A&F successfully. Oh, he goes into describing. It's a 1990s version of a 1950 ideal. The white masculine beef cake. That's what he was aiming for. A 1990s version of the 1950s ideal, the white masculine beef cake. What the fuck? That's what they say. This is the 1950s ideal white masculine beef cake. Of course, we know he liked the young white boys, but beefcake is crazy, especially in 2006. That was inappropriate. During the time of political correctness and rejection of the 50s orthodox, but it did with profound and significant differences. AF aged the masculine ideal downward, celebrating young men in their teens and early 20s with smooth gym tone bodies and perfect hair, while fiending casualness. Many of his clothes look like they were spent years in the washing machine, then a hamper. Abercrombie actually celebrates the vain, highly constructed male. After all, there is nothing casual about an AF sweatshirt worn over two AF polos, worn over an AF What, nigga? That's what they was wearing? A t-shirt, two polos, and a sweater, nigga, hot as hell. AF has had less of a cultural impact on women's fashion. Its girls line is preppy, sexy, and popular, but the company has mostly remained focused on pleasing the all-American college boy. The company has focused on remaining focused on the American college boy. The company has mostly remained focused on pleasing the American, all-American college boy. It was all in this article in 2006. He wanted the masculine beefcake and to please the all-American college boy. We don't care about the girl line. We want to please the all-American college boy. I am a boy, Damon. Jeez. Well, we here now. I'm probably the only person online that actually read through this article so far, but jeez, every time we think, okay, they're about to get into the business aspect, it goes back to talking about boys. They had one paragraph where they talked about the money that they made, but then they said, fuck that. We want to go talk about the beefcake. We want to go talk about pleasing the all-American college boy. Like, nothing in this article is talking about the company. It's just talking about young boys. Hey. Hey, Jeffries, can we talk about like Abercrombie and Fitch? Like, what are some of your upcoming fall designs or something? No, fuck that. The beefcake, the college boys. I got a college campus. Hey, Jeffries, how about your financial statement? I'm hearing that you're bringing in $2 billion a year. Do you guys see yourself going in the red or in the black? The red and the black doesn't matter. We need all American college boys. Oh, we understand that's what your models are, but how about when you took over the company, did you envision this company going this far? Well, when we got the college boys, we figured that we'll take a kind of a shift back into the 1950s with the beefcake. Okay, Jeffries, please. Can you talk to us something other than the guys that are modeling for you? Is there anything else you want to tell us about this Abercrombie and Fitch company? Like, is there anything you want to tell us? Are there any new projects coming up? Any of your other brands? Like, how about Hollister? You said that's for the business class, the 22-year-old to the 35-year-old. How about that? Is that something you? No. We over here we take pride in the muscular, athletic college boys. Hey, Jeffries. Like, why is everything going back to the boys? Y'all laughing. I'm being serious. I'm reading this article. Y'all don't have to read it. Y'all are listening to me. I gotta read this. And wait a minute. We're not even talking about the clothes. Like, hey, where are you getting the fabric from? Hey, are these shirts cotton? Are they polyester? Are you getting where are you getting this from? Where are your factories at? None of that is being explained. It's just we like boys. Yeah, wait. Let's continue on, man. Here we go. Look, the very next paragraph. For many young men, to wear Abercrombie is to broadcast masculinity, athleticism, and inclusion in the Cool Boys Club. Yeah, we know what the Cool Boys Club is. They get itineraries to come be around you and your sick fucking friends. For many young men, to wear Abercrombie is to broadcast masculinity, athleticism, and inclusion into the Cool Boys Club. Listen to this. Without even having to open their mouths. Yeah, because guess what? We know that you were giving them poppers allegedly. We know that you were giving them drugs allegedly, so they wouldn't feel anything that was going on. So of course they didn't have to open their mouths. You guys were doing some weird shit. You're telling on yourself here. That may be why the brand is so popular among, here we go. That may be why the brand is so popular among some gay men who want desperately to announce their oh Lord. It's popular among some of the gay men. Well, there we go. But because AF Vision is so constructed and commodified, and because what AF sells is not so much manhood, but perennial boyhood, he's selling this to college men, but saying it's not so much manhood, but it's for boyhood. What? Up here, you just told us that this is for the all-American college boy, but down here, AF sales is not so much manhood. It's for boyhood. Oh my. Perennial boyhood. There is also something oddly emasculating about it. Compared to the 1950 ideal, AF version of maleness feels restrictive. If becoming a man is about independence and growing, then Abercrombie doesn't feel very masculine at all. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. He wants the all-American college boys to wear his clothes, but never to fucking grow up. He said it right here. It's in the article. It's about boyhood. He doesn't want you to be masculine and grow up. No, he wants you to stay a fucking boy. Oh man, this is 2006, y'all. This is a salon.com articles about Michael Jeffries, the CEO, former CEO of Abercrombie Fitch, who was just indicted and arrested. Well, right now, this article is not going to help out at all because this is 2006, 2 years prior to when they said all of this started in 08. But at some point, there had to be a starting point. He maybe eased his way into it. Pause on that because that sounds disgusting. And everything he has done allegedly has been very, very disgusting. If becoming a man is about independence and growing up, then Abercrombie doesn't feel very masculine at all. He wants you to stay a boy. Oh, man. Y'all got me reading this shit. Golly, we supposed to be looking at articles. What time? It's 1:30 in the morning. All right, hold on. Let me see something. It's 1:30 in the morning. Let me see where we at. I'm not going. Oh, my. This is a long-ass article. Jeez Louise. All right, let me yeah, fuck it, we here. In that way, the brand is a lot like its creator. While Jeffries wears A&F clothes, the uniform doesn't succeed at making him seem boyish or particularly masculine. And for a man obsessed with creating a sexy and emotional experience, which how can you make a sexually and emotional experience when this is for the all-American college boy and you don't even want to focus on the woman brand? So what's sexual and emotional about it? You in the models? He's obsessed with creating a sexy and emotional experience for his customers. Jeffries comes off as oddly asexual. Yeah, he comes off as oddly gay. He is touchy-feely. Oh, here we go. Look. He is touchy-feely with some of his employees, both male and female. But the touch is decidedly paternal. No. Paternal. No, it ain't. He touchy-feely with some of his employees, both male and female, but the touch is decidedly paternal. Do you guys believe him touching on him is just paternal? Hey, good job, son. He's touchy. This is 2006. They're telling us this nigga's touching the employees. He's touchy-feely. If you were a touchy-feely employer today, you're going to be touching a jail cell and be feeling isolated, and you're going to be feeling bubble next to your ass. If you touchy-feely in 2024, you're going to jail. But right here in the article, they say he's touchy-feely. Like, touchy-feely is like grabbing, like touchy. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to touch somebody's shoulder or, hey, tap them. Hey, can you go over there and do that for me? But there's another thing to be Philly. It's all right here in the article, man. All right. Remarkably, little is known about Jeffries' personal life. There are few people who claim to know Jeffries well, and those who do wouldn't comment for this story because they know about them X events, allegedly. What is known is that Jeffries has a grown son, lives separately from his wife, and according to Business Week, has a Herb Ritz photo of a toned male torso hanging over his fireplace in the bedroom. What the fuck? In his bedroom over the fireplace is a toned male torso hanging. Well, let's go find this photo. Let's see what the hell this is. Oh, ain't nobody got no photo of it. Yeah, that's what it says. Jeffries has a grown son, lives separately from his wife. He's not divorced, he's married, but they live separately. And in his bedroom, on top of a fireplace, in front of a bearskin rug, is a picture of a toned male torso. This is a weird individual. Well, we can't even say weird no more. This is a sick individual, and he needs to be locked up. This is 2006, 2 years prior to the investigation in 2008 to 2015. Oh, look. Oh, here we go. Jeffries wouldn't discuss any of that with me, and he fidgeted nervously and grew visibly agitated when I asked about several of the many controversies and lawsuits he has weathered in the 14 years of the helm of AF. Our first bump came when I mentioned in 2002 the uproar over the company thongs for middle school girls. What? Abercrombie got sued for that? I ain't know nothing about that in no 2002. Did y'all know about this in 2002? Shit, man. I'm going to have to tell my boss I ain't coming into work tomorrow. We got better things to do right now. So May 28th, 2002, CNN, several consumer advocacy groups said they had sent emails to AF to protest the change's latest offering of thong underwear and children. Oh, that's why he said up here he was dodging all of those up it was a couple of, I don't even know where that thing is at though. But remember he said he was staying away. Jeffries won't let anyone, girl cotton, high school feminists, humorless Asians, angry shareholders, thong hating parents. So that's what he said earlier in the article. So when we brought it up down here to talk about the actual case, he was fidgeting and nervous. Oh man. Mentioned the 2002 uproar of the company's thongs for middle school girls. Like, there was no women to say, hey, well, there probably was, but this motherfucker was like, nah, go ahead and do it. But like what? Which had eye candy and wink, wink printing on the front. That was a bunch of BS, he said, sweating profusely. People said we were cynical, that we were sexualizing little girls. But you know what? I still think those are cute underwear for little girls. Nigga, eye candy and wink, wink on the front. Nigga, first of all, ain't no one supposed to be seeing their underwear. So why would this be something good for little girls? And I think anybody who gets on the bandwagon about thongs for little girls is just crazy. There is such craziness about sex in this country. It's nuts. I can see getting upset about letting your girl hang out with a bunch of old pervs, you motherfucker. But why would you let your girl hang out with a bunch of old pervs? Same reason you, the old perv, made the draws, nigga, because old pervs do pervy shit. Listen, this motherfucker is nasty. No one's letting their kid hang out with the pervs. The pervs are doing this shit on their own. That's why the whole Jeffrey Epstein was going on. It wasn't like the parents were letting that happen. They were coerced in being brought over there. Same way that these young men, which you are arrested and indicted for, were brought over here with promises of jobs. Allegedly. Dog. This shit was going on in 2006 and no one looked at it. No one said, man, let's read this article and let's just see what he's talking about. Because now, not only is he talking about little boys, now he's talking about, okay, we can do this for little girls. Even though we don't know if he hasn't messed with girls. They said he was touchy-feely with boys and girls, employees. So, but why would you let your girl hang out with a bunch of old pervs? They're not. Later, I brought up the AF Quarterly, which until was the brouhaha surrounding the AF Quarterly. What is that? Until it was discontinued in 2003, boasted articles about the history of orgies. Oh. Later, I brought up the brouhaha surrounding the AF Quarterly, which until it was discontinued in 2003, boasted articles about the history of orgies and pictures of chiseled, mostly white, all-American boys and girls, but mostly boys, covered and naked on horses. Beaches, pianos, surfboards, statues, suggestive tree trunks. The Magalog so outraged the American Decency Association that it called for a boycott and started selling anti-Abercrombie t-shirts. Ditch Finch. So there was, okay, when did this come out? So this is in 2003, 3 years. So this same website, Salon, did Have Yourself a Horny Little Christmas. Looking at Abercrombie and Fitch catalogs makes me want to buy their clothes, but I'm too exhausted from self-abuse. So this is 3 years prior. Is there a link between him and Diddy at any point? I don't know. Man, I didn't got so far into this damn article. Now, all right, we're just gonna take a break from that article because this is 3 years prior what he's bringing up. I'm just gonna read this first paragraph and then we'll go back. What? Whoa. Nothing says Christmas like a good old-fashioned circle jerk by the fire. For all you squares, first of all, a circle jerk is just good as hell. For all you squares who don't know what a circle jerk is, turn to page 88 of the Abercrombie and Fitch Quarterly. Under the picture of wet, naked college kids and the heading Group Sex. It's difficult to figure out where you are in the book since most pages aren't numbered. It reads, sex, as we know, can involve one or two, but what about even more? A pleasant, super safe alternative to this group is group masturbation. What? This is in the magazine? He was talking about X events in 2003. I think they need to take this investigation and move the dates from 2008 to whenever this motherfucker took over. This guy's worse than Diddy. Now God damn it. This is a long ass article. Motherfuckers. The challenge for me when getting one off with my friends to the nudies in the magazine or in the catalog is trying not to think about serious things like racial diversity. It tends to kill the mood. But because most of the models in the catalog are white, and because a lawsuit has been filed against the clothing retailer for allegedly discriminating against a black woman who applied for the job at the store, it's hard for the issue to not rear its non-sexy head. Part barely legal, Part Vapid Teen Magazine, the Christmas issue of A&F Quarterly is unparalleled in the amount of naked frolicking it used to sell clothing. And considering the demographic it is trying to reach, is downright risque. Because besides the couple seemingly in the sexual intercourse, there are subtler seductions. If you look very, very closely, somewhere around page 100, you can find a not quite airbrushed male pubes on a well-cut frat guy as he slides in the buff down of a wet rock into crashing. What the fuck? We ain't reading no more than this. It's beyond anything our parents saw and played. What? Hey, yo, what? This nigga had a magazine. This is the magazine I think that they had. So this is so he was showing us the whole time. Abercrombie and Fitch Spring Break 2001 AF Quarterly. Nude Photography. That's 2001. The 2003 Summer Edition. 2003 Bruce Weber. 2002. These shits are selling for $50. Two Naked on the Beach in 2002. Dog, this shit. All right, let me posted articles about the history of orgies and picture chiseled, mostly white all-American boys and girls, but mostly boys. The Magalog so outraged the American Decency Association that it called for a boycott and started selling anti-Abercrombie t-shirts, ditched Finch. Abercrombie, man, golly. Abercrombie peddles porn and exploits children. This is in 2003 that they said this. Meanwhile, gay men across America were eagerly collecting the magazines lured by photographer Bruce Weber. Taste for beautiful masculine boys playfully pulling off each other's butt. What the fuck, man? Jeffries nearly fell over when I mentioned the Magalog, although I'm not sure which charge that he sells sex to kids that he is advertising is homoerotic bothered him more. That's just so wrong, he said. I think that what we represent sexually is healthy. It's playful, it's not dark, it's not degrading. But now we know all of this was leading up to your ex events that you have been indicted for. So we're seeing the history of it, and this was in 2003, but this is 2006, but in 2003, you started putting that out there to show the young men, hey, this is what we do over here at Abercrombie and Fitch. And then you went and built a whole college campus, which in 2006 is when the campus opened up. But in 2003, he's talking about spring break, showing all of this, and he wanted to build the college campus experience with the all-American college kid. Now, we know that these magazines, because I knew nothing about this white people shit, we knew these magazines were out in 2003, 3 years prior to the whole college campus being opened up. So I don't think 2008 is when this shit started. This shit started in the late 90s, probably when he first took over. He changed the whole direction of it. Yeah, man. Look what y'all done got me into, man. All right. It's playful, it's not dark, it's not degrading, and it's not gay, and it's not straight, and it's not black, and it's not white. It's not about any labels that would be cynical. And we're not cynical. It's all depicting the wonderful camaraderie, friendship, and playfulness that exists in this generation and candidly does not exist in the older generation. Jeffries alternates his grumpy defensiveness with moments of surprise and candor, making him at times oddly endearing. He admitted things out loud with some youth-focused realtors wouldn't, which may be why he panicked and pulled his cooperation from the story 2 days after I left the headquarters, offering no explanation. He admitted things out loud that some youth-focused retailers wouldn't, which may be why he panicked and pulled his cooperation. Which may be why he panicked and pulled his cooperation from this story 2 days after I left AF headquarters, offering no explanation. Now, what it's seeming like, all of this is alleged, but he may have admitted to some self-incriminating things that other retailers are doing, but they wouldn't admit this shit out loud. So he said, wait a minute, that stuff that I said about the other retailers, hey, pull that out. Because why would he pull? He's been open about everything so far, but when he mentions the other retailers, he said, wait, take that out. So he may have been trying to expose some other people who've been probably back, because these companies, they're in competition at all times. So he may have been like, these other companies are probably helping, putting money behind bringing his shit down. So he was probably like, they doing some weird shit over there too. But he said, let me pull that out. Ah, interesting. For example, see, exactly. For example, when I asked him about how important sex and sexual attraction are and what he calls the emotional experience he creates for his customer, he says it's almost everything. That's why we hire good-looking people in our stores, because good-looking people attract other good-looking people. And we want to market cool, good-looking people. We don't market to anyone other than that. That means ugly niggas like me, they didn't market to me. I'm not going to call any of you guys ugly, but they didn't market to us, black folk. As far as Jeffries is concerned, America's unattractive, overweight, and hey, I'm only overweight because it's the winter time, but I'm like 194 right now. I'm solid. Overweight or otherwise undesirable teens can shop somewhere else. In every school, there are cool and popular kids. He wasn't a cool or popular kid. That's why he fucked up his face and did all this extra shit and wants to be young forever because he got money now. And then there are not so cool kids, he says. Candidly, we go after the cool kids. We go after the attractive, all-American kid. He always goes back to little boys with a great attitude and a lot of friends. A lot of people don't belong in our clothes, and they can't belong. Are we exclusionary? Absolutely. These companies, well, those companies that are in trouble are trying to target everybody, young, old, fat, skinny, but then you become totally vanilla. You don't alienate anybody, but you don't excite anybody either. What's up, Ken Wu? That's what I was saying. Like, he's going to call out these other companies. Let me see. Jeffries' obsession with building brands began when he was 5. He grew up in Los Angeles, where his father owned a chain of party supply stores for which a young Jeffries liked to organize and design the windows and counters. I would always say to my parents, we need another store. We need another, Jeffries recalls. Always wanted to expand and get bigger. And when I get off saying, why do we do the fixtures like this? Why don't we do it another way? That totally turned me on. Nigga, you were 5 years old. Damn. Jeffrey says he had a very classic American youth. Although he was not good at sports, I broke my dad's heart because I wasn't good at basketball, he says. In high school in the late 50s, Jeffries also wore Levi jeans. Actually, don't write that, he tells me, laughing. Ha 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 ha. But Levi's was definitely the uniform back then, kind of like what AF has become. If you don't wear 501s, you were considered weird. I had a couple of 501s back in the day. No one cool wore Abercrombie and Fitch when Jeffries went to the Claremont McKenna College and the Columbia University, where he earned a master's degree in business administration. In fact, the company's best years were long behind it. Founded in 1892, in its heyday, served as President Hoover and Eisenhower. They brought their fishing equipment there. Ernest Hemingway guns and Cole Porter evening clothes. During Prohibition, AF was where the in crowd went for his hip flask. But the 1970s had become a fashion backwater, holding on for dear life. Oh, so they sold everything back then, 1892. Leslie O'Neill, AF's executive vice president of planning and allocation, remembers what the company was like before Jeffries got there. We had old clothes that no one liked, she says. It was a mess, a total disaster. We had this old library at our headquarters with all these old books. There were corset sets lying around, very English. The company, which since 1988 had been owned by Limited, was also losing $25 million a year. Jeffries arrived and announced AF could survive, prosper as a young, hip-spirited company. So basically, what it's sounding like is Jeffries wasn't shit in high school. Jeffries was picked on, broke his father's heart, unathletic. So what he wanted to do was get back at all of those kids that were cool. He wasn't cool. He was the weird kid whose family owned the party store that no one went to. So now it's starting to make sense. So he figured now that he got money, he can make a change. He wants to be that young, cool kid that he never got to be. Remember, he had 501s. He wasn't the kid with the best clothing and anything. So as he took over the brand, all of the kids, what he wanted to be growing up, that he couldn't be because he was ugly. And if he wasn't the owner, the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, they wouldn't be advertising these clothes to this nigga. He wanted to be the cool guy. He wanted to be young. He wanted to relive his childhood, his teen years, for when they used to stuff his bitch ass in the locker. So now we're starting to see where all of this is coming from. He announced they could survive and prosper as a young, hip-spirited company. We were all thinking, oh, yeah, right, Abercrombie and Fitch, recalls O'Neill. But in the end, we were like, well, why not? It can't get any worse. Jeffries, then in his late 40s, dressed in Oxford shirts and corduroy pants. He was a lot more normal back then. He changed up on us, O'Neill says. Today, he's much more eccentric, obviously. I'm telling you guys, man, he used to get his ass whooped in school. He said he broke his dad's heart because he couldn't hoop. The nigga was trash. So now, as an adult, he's trying to get back at all the cool kids. Because he wasn't a cool kid. He was the fucking weirdo that worked at the party store that we used to throw rocks through the fucking windows, break the shit, whoop his ass when he came outside because he was a weirdo. Now he think he cool because he got money. We know your kind, Michael. Maybe although former co-workers at Paul Harris recall that Jeffries had an odd personal style even back then, he wore the same outfit to work every day, recalls Thomas Yeo, a Paul Harris colleague. Nearly worn out suede loafers, a pair of gray flannel pants, and a double-breasted navy blazer. I don't think he ever changed his clothes. All that seemed to matter to him was the success of the brand. Jan Woodruff, who also worked with Jeffries at Paul Harris, remembers him as a workaholic. If he had a life outside of work, it wasn't something people knew about, says Woodruff. But Woodruff and others say that say he was a superlative fashion mind. It's so rare to find someone who is brilliant at both the creative and business sides, but Jeffries is both. He's good at thinking in broad terms, but he's also obsessed with details. I've also never seen anyone as driven as Mike. I had no doubt he would be incredibly successful if he found the right venue. Okay, it ain't too. After this article, I'm done, man. We'll pick up the rabbit hole on another day. Soon after taking over AF, Jeffries went looking early on for the right man to help him make AF a sexy, aspirational brand. He settled for Bruce Weber. Bruce Weber is the photographer who is already renowned photographer known for his male nudes. So that right there already showed us exactly where he's going. Hey guys, all right, I got this brand. All right, what you gonna do, Jeffries? You didn't took over. What you gonna do? I'm gonna bring in Bruce Weber's. Bruce Weber, Bruce Weber, the guy that takes the pictures of the naked men. Yeah, I'm gonna bring him in and do what exactly? This is a clothing line. Yeah, what we gonna do is we're gonna take some photos of some naked people. Wait. This is Abercrombie and Fitch. We used to sell fishing rods to the president. What do you mean, Jeffries? Trust me, I got this. So his first thing was to go to Bruce Weber, who was known for male nudes. But back then, we couldn't afford him for an actual suit. Jeffries told me. So we brought one picture from him and hung it in the store window. That might be the one picture that he has hanging over his fireplace. That first picture that they bought. From the get-go, the first thing he thought about when he got to take over this company, male nudes. That was his first thought. What can we do? Male nudes. Not what kind of clothing can we do? What kind of styles can we go to? Let me go get the photographer that's known for male nudes, but we might not be able to afford them. So let me just buy a picture from him. "14 years later, Jeffries' success is the envy of the fashion world. In a recent feature, The Abercrombie Effect in DNR, a news magazine about men's fashion and retail, the magazine noted since Ralph Lauren's ascent in the 80s, has a single brand perfected a lifestyle base looked often so allude to and imitated. Now Ralph Lauren's doing to intimidate. Now Ralph Lauren is opening a chain of collegiate waspy polo knockoff stores called Rugby. Oh, I remember the Polo Rugby 2 Chainz where that for young customers, featuring in-store grunge brands and beautiful sales people. National sales manager to young men at Union Bay, another youth-oriented label in the young men's market. We need to look into Union Bay scandals real quick. Let me see. Still Union City. Particularly in the department stores, everyone was focused on hip hop and urban brands, and no one was recreating the average American Joe look. Jeffries never lost sight of who his customer is and created a quality brand that caters to the cool clique and has a sense of exclusivity. Yet it still has a mass appeal because people want to be a part of it. It's genius. Blah, 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 blah. Look, it took us 1 hour to get to anything that had to do with the actual company. 1 hour of talking about his vision of young college boys. Maybe that's just the price of success. but it's not a normal day in America if someone isn't suing, boycotting, or girl-cotting Abercrombie & Fitch, which has become lightning rod for both left and the right. In 2004, AF paid $40 million to settle a class action lawsuit brought by minority employees who said they were either denied employment or forced to work in back rooms. Well, you just told us that you only want the attractive people. You told us at the beginning of the article that, hey, you're staying away from the minorities. Well, now I remember this one though, where they wouldn't be seen by customers. While AF denied wrongdoing, Jeffries said the suit taught him a lesson. I don't think we were in any sense guilty of racism, but I think we just didn't work hard enough as a company to create a more balance and diversity. And we have, and I think that's made us a better company. We have minority recruiters, and if you go into our stores, you see great looking kids of all races. In the latest episode, last fall, a group of high school girls from Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, made rounds on television talking shows, protest the company's offensive t-shirts. A particular concern were shorts that read, "Who needs a brain when you have these?" Gentlemen prefer Tiggo bitties. Hey, man. He should have known this wasn't going. Who needs brains when you got these? Gentlemen prefer Tiggo bitties. Like, nigga, this is what they were putting on shirts. And do I make you look fat? Hey, man. These are shirts you got to sell at what's that store? What's that gothic store that used to be in the malls? They used to have like all kinds of weird shit in there. You can go in there. They had the little like the metal nails you could put your hand in and like show the imprint of your hand. They had the little static globe. What was that shit called in the malls? Y'all know what I'm talking about. What's that store? Spencer's. Ain't it Spencer's? Was it Spencer's? Nah, it wasn't Spencer's, was it? Yeah, it was Spencer's. It was Spencer's. Like you can go into Spencer's. That's where they sell them shirts. Who needs a brain when you got these? Gentlemen prefer Tiggo bitties. Ha, ha, ha. Oh man. Gentlemen prefer Tiggo. Hey, if that ain't funny, man, I'm crying for real, man. Spencer's would have that. Like when you go into Spencer's, it'd be a shirt hanging up. Gentlemen prefer Tiggo bitties. Why was Abercrombie & Fitch selling that shit? Oh my God. I didn't know that they were selling this kind of shit, dog. Oh man, there's no way that Abercrombie & Fitch that they was gonna get who needs a brain when you got these? Oh man, why? The 2000s was a good time, man. What a time to be alive. Oh my goodness. I did not know they had these shirts, man. Well, he ain't wrong. Oh my goodness. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, man. It is 2:00 on a work night, man, and I'm up reading this fucking article to y'all, man. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. This is the problem. That's why I got to do like the more you know. I got to do this earlier in the day because the deep dive could turn into a 4 to 5 hour live. Oh my God. That's funny. Yeah, Hot Topic too. Hot Topic, Spencer's, they sold all. Gentlemen preferred Tiggo bitties. There's no way Abercrombie & Fitch thought they were gonna sell that shit, man. Oh my God. Jeez. All right, let's go. Let's finish this article up, man. I got work in 5 hours. Abercrombie has a history of insensitive. The group's well-spoken Emma Blackman Mathis, 16. What? Oh, this is the person that's suing. 16 told me, and there is no company with as big an impact on the standards of beauty. There are kids starving themselves so they can be an Abercrombie girl. And there are guys who think they aren't worthy if they don't look exactly like the guys on the wall. Oh, man, the protest to pull off the shirts. Who needs a brain when you have these? The classic gentleman preferred tickle biddies, but retaining do I make you look fat in others? Oh, so they kept the do I make you look fat? Oh, okay. So they kept that because that was just only going at boys. You see what I'm saying? That was basically, hey, do I make you look fat because he's an Abercrombie nigga? He got a 6-pack abs. So they kept that one. They were allowed to keep that one because it wasn't going at the girls. But the who needs a brain when you have these and gentlemen preferred tickle bitties, since it was going against the girls. That's why he said he didn't want to be around any feminists, because when the do I make you look fat, they got to keep that one because the guys are wear that. But oh man. Began after my visit, so I couldn't ask Jeffries about it, but I did ask him about other t-shirt dust-ups, including all is relative in oh man, come on, it's all relative in West Virginia. Oh man, come on, what did he think, man? He talking about incest. It's all relative in West Virginia. I said relative. It's all relative in West Virginia, Martin. Oh man, what did he think they did? Man, they not gonna let you put up incest about the state, which West Virginia's governor didn't find funny. Bad girls chug, good girls drink quickly. Oh my God, which angered anti-addiction groups. The Wong brothers laundry service. 2 Wongs came. Hey, these niggas is tripping. Look, it's a so there's other shirts too. Bad girls chug, good girls drink quickly. Which angered anti-addiction groups, and Wong brothers laundry service. 2 Wongs can't make it white, which triggered protests from Asian groups, which is why he said he stays away from the Asians. Oh, this motherfucker. There's no way that they thought that this shit was gonna get off, man. 2 Wongs can't make it white. Come on, man. Hey, what were they thinking? God, there's no way that they thought they was gonna get this shit off, man. Remarkably, Jeffrey says he has a morals committee for t-shirts. Hey, send that shirt to the morals committee. Nigga Little here. Hey, you can't put that on the shirt, Jeffries. That's Mo saying anyway. He gonna sue your ass. But you gotta send that to a morals committee for t-shirts, whose job is to make sure this sort of thing doesn't happen. Sometimes they're on vacation. So what, is only one nigga working? He admits with a smile. So he's basically saying sometimes they're on vacation, meaning we're going to let some of this shit slide. Some of the shit we're going to go ahead and push through. He admits with a smile. So he knew what he was doing. Listen, do we go too far sometimes? Absolutely. Exactly. But we push the envelope and we try to be funny and we try to stay authentic and relevant to our target customer. I really don't care what what anyone other than our target customer thinks. Oh my God. What about the shareholders? All right, man. So this ain't really got too much to go on with. I mean, it does talk about the shareholders where before he was talking about he didn't want angry shareholders, but I was really just reading this to see what we could gather for what they actually got arrested for. Now they haven't got arrested for like any money laundering or anything, but they did say there is hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are hundreds of thousands of dollars that were paid out to these young men that were at these X events. So in all seriousness, yeah, we just read over some funny stuff, but in all seriousness, the signs have been here. But as we were talking about the compare and contrast to Diddy, the reason we know so much about Diddy is because this was in 2006. None of us gave a fuck who the hell Michael Jeffries was or Abercrombie and Fitch, what they were doing. But in 2006, we knew who Diddy was. Diddy was always in the spotlight. So that's why we know so much about Diddy. And I know people were saying, well, look how they treated him compared to this. As I mentioned earlier, this state's attorney was only been in office for 1 year. So they just started prosecuting this. The BBC, we see that they got an investigation that goes back 2 years. But all of this, I'm pretty sure they're going to, because he said that the investigation is ongoing. So I'm pretty sure they're going to revisit this. Hopefully in court, they bring up my YouTube video and have me read it off so the court can hear how it's broken down in layman's terms. You know what I'm saying? They need to bring me in, let me read this off and break this down to them exactly what was going on in 2006 that none of us knew about because none of us personally gave a fuck about Abercrombie and Fitch and what they had going on. But this whole article for the first hour was him talking about the all-American college boy. Oh, man. All right, blah, 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 blah. Hey, you remember earlier when we were talking international? And I was talking about this could open up something for Fendi, Gucci, Louis, and all this. Well, there's a tie to Gucci in this article right here. How does a store look? How does it feel? How does it smell? That's what I'm obsessed with, Jeffries said as he walked quickly toward the Hollister model store surrounded by a handful of his top deputies, including Tom Mildenhall, a senior vice president whom Jeffries recently lured from Gucci. Let's see who the fuck Tom Mildenhall is. And any of his connections that he still has. So Tom Mildenhall is a girl. Or is it? Or was it just showing? No, so Tom Mildenhall, oh, that was just a woman on the stand. All right. So Tom Mildenhall was resigning at Gucci in 2004. This article was in 2006. So there is a connection with Gucci that they took one of the senior vice president, which means he's still cool with the president and everything, but it's a close source of the situation. It's believed Mildenhall is leaving to accept the senior position at a specialty chain Abercrombie & Fitch through details. Neither Mildenhall nor Gucci group officials could be reached for comment. So what did Mildenhall and how long did Mildenhall work for Abercrombie & Fitch? Mildenhall joined Gucci as a worldwide image and sales director in 96, then reporting to designer Tom Ford. The two men engineered Gucci's rejuvenation. Tom Mildenhall wait a minute. So, the rabbit hole is deep, I promise. Check it out. 2017, 2 years after 2015, in which the Fed's investigation ended. So was Tom Mildenhall still a part of Abercrombie & Fitch and he tried to jump ship in 2017 and went over to Ralph Lauren? Oh, no, Tom. Come here. We need to talk to you, Thomas. We need to talk to you. We need to find out where you were between the years of 2004 and 17 when you went over to Ralph Lauren. It sounds like you were around, and we need to ask you a few questions. Uh-oh, Tom. Okay. Mildenhall joins Ralph Lauren from Tom Ford International, where he served as chief operating officer, COO, for more than a decade. So Mildenhall, 2017, a decade is 2007. So, okay, Mildenhall, you're good. You left 1 year prior. You left 1 year prior to the investigation, which started in 2008 at Abercrombie. So we still not letting you out of here. We need to keep this name in mind, Tom Mildenhall. Prior to that, he was the senior vice president at Abercrombie and Fitch. He also spent 8 years as a worldwide director in merchandising at Gucci. He also reported to Herman and will begin the company in 2017. Mildenhall joins from Tom Ford, where he served as chief operations for more than a decade. All right. Uh-huh. But so right now, the years that but let's make it clear. The years that the state attorney said that this investigation is 2008 to 2015. They said he was at Tom Ford International for a decade, 2017 to 2007. The only issue is we also heard that this is an ongoing investigation. So Tom Mildenhall, the senior vice president of what? What was he? International. We also know that Mike Jeffries and his two co-defendants have been going international with this. So you was only at Abercrombie and Fitch for maybe that's a 2006 article. A year? No, we need to fuck that. Let's find out how long you worked with them. Because this article, you might be trying to change stuff up. Tom Mildenhall, you got a LinkedIn profile? Hey, man. Board of directors, Polo, board of directors, executive. Okay, so he was there for 2 years. All right. He was there for 2 years. Now, the only issue is in those 2 years, (2004 to 2006), we know about the AF Quarterly that was going on that was talking about the naked kids and the history of orgies and circle jerks. Tom, we need to ask you a couple of questions. Now, we're not saying that you're in trouble or anything, Tom. We just need you to come on down and talk to us for a little bit. We just got a couple of questions to ask you about your 2 years at Abercrombie and Fitch. Is there anything you saw, heard, maybe? Look, we're going to go ahead. We're going to give you immunity. Just go ahead and tell us everything you know. Make this easy on yourself. You know, as of right now, we're saying that you're clean cut, but just let us know what you know. Now, all of this is just alleged, but hey, man, that rabbit hole. So he left and went straight to Tom Ford. And then from Tom Ford, went to Polo. And now he has his own Jamestown Hudson. Hey, Eric, hey, that's the thing, man. When I start doing this, once I see something, we got to follow it. We got to see who these names are. And like I said, man, it's 2:18 in the morning, man. I got to be up in 5 hours. Well, I got to be at work in 5 hours. I got to be up in 4 hours. What? Whoa, 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 whoa. Let me read this real quick. This right here, it may not be any significance to you guys, but for me, it just stood out for me. This is gonna be the last thing I read. Inside the dimly lit Hollister store, which is designed to look like a cozy California beach house, there are surfboards, canoes, comfy chairs in a lounge, magazines to read, 2 screens of a live hunting and beach, courtesy of cameras permanently affixed to appear. Jeffries paused in front of 2 mannequins and shook his head. No, we're still not there, guys. He shouted over the No Doubt song. I get no doubt, which blasted throughout the store. He stared at the jeans on a female mannequin. The jeans are too high. I think she has to be lower. A guy named Josh got down on his knees and started fidgeting with the jeans, trying to pull them down so they hung to the ground. And we need to make the leg as skinny as we can, Jeffrey said. Should we clip the back of the leg in the knee? 2 employees scurried off to get clips. Man, ain't nobody scurrying. I walked off, nigga. We want it bigger at the top and skinnier at the legs. Yes, that's sexier. Much better. That's less butch. Jeffries isn't a fan of the butch look, though when they were all the rage, he incorporated camouflage army pants into the Hollister line of girls. Listen to this. Here we go. Jeffries then turns his attention to the male mannequin. Okay, how rugged and masculine can we make this guy? Nigga, it's a mannequin. We can't make it look any more rugged or masculine. It's a fucking plastic mannequin, nigga. Okay, how rugged and masculine can we make this guy? He asked, prompting a couple of his assistants to fidget with the jeans, making them bigger in the leg. Good. He looks cooler now. He's got more attitude. We love attitude. Yay! There was more mannequin fixing at the AF store where a male, one decked out in jeans, wasn't looking very manly. We have to fix this guy's package. What the fuck, man? It's right here in the article. There was more mannequin fixing at the AF store where a male, one decked out in jeans, wasn't looking very manly. We have to fix this guy's package. Jeffrey said we could stuff him. A girl suggests while a guy fiddled with the crotch, trying to make it poofier. With that fixed, Jeffries turned to the male mannequin in cargo pants to make sure it looked realistic. He had a very attractive male employee put on a pair of the pants and stand next to the mannequin to look at his crotch. It's right here. Go put on some pants so he can compare your crotch to the mannequin's crotch that we just poofed up. This investigation, listen, I might have to reach out.
The FBI? Yeah, this the FBI.
I need to let y'all know that y'all investigation stopped in 2008. Go back to 2006. I got a whole 2-hour breakdown of this article. You need to read this. There's evidence right here. You need to read this. He had employees stuff a mannequin to make it look poofier and then told another nigga to go put some pants on and come stand next to it so I can compare the poofiness of his crotch to the poofiness of your crotch. This is some weird shit, and it was always out here, and we never knew. Nah, it gets weirder. With that fixed, Jeffries turned to a male mannequin in cargo pants to make sure it looked realistic. He had a very attractive male employee put on a pair of pants and stand next to the mannequin. That looks great, he said, as the young man did a 360, the pants sagging off his ass. Jeffries looked at the mannequin again. Are the pants low enough? This guy's got it lower. So the real deal ass had the pants sagging off the ass. He looked at the mannequin and said, we need to lower the sagging ass level of the pants on the mannequin to match the ass crack of the employee. They're right at the edge of falling off, said an assistant. Nigga, the pants are already too low, Michael. They can't go any further. If it goes any further, pause, this mannequin's gonna be double cheeked up. We can't pull the shit down no lower. The crack is already exposed, Michael. He said lower. The assistant said, they're falling off, sir. He said lower, damn it. He's got them lower. Do another 360. This nigga Michael was a fucking creep this whole time. And they just went through this interview like there's nothing wrong with it. But every fucking sentence where he's talking about a male employee is some fucking creepy shit. This whole article was about him being a fucking creep. Nothing had to do with Abercrombie. It was him getting sued for doing dumb shit. Okay, that's good, Jeffrey said. Let them go as low as we can without them falling off. We don't want him looking like an old guy. Yeah, we know you like little fucking boys, man. I'm out, man. Y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man. I read this whole fucking article and there was nothing good about Abercrombie. FBI, salon.com, 2006, /01/24/Jeffries. The feds need to read this. We need to open that investigation up and take it back at least 2 more years. Unfortunately, Tom Holland, that's going to put your ass in here. But you left right at the end of 2006. But this article is January of 2006. So if you didn't leave prior to January of 2006, I'm sorry. We're going to have to ask you some questions, Tom Mendenhall. I'm not saying you had anything to do with it. You may have left because you thought this shit was weird, but we got to question you. You seem like a gentleman that knows what's going on in the fashion world. We need to ask you what this sick motherfucker was doing. This is ridiculous, man. Y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man. I appreciate y'all. I love doing, that's why I started this channel, The More You Know, so we can do our deep dives and shit. But I do got to get up in the morning. I will get on here and bullshit with y'all a little bit. But it was 2:25. All right, man. I love y'all. What's tomorrow? Wednesday. I'm gonna try to get on tomorrow and we'll see what we can do. But man, look what y'all done, man. Y'all done opened up some shit that we did not expect. Man, 2024 has been a year of the big dick deviants going down. Word to Cat Williams. I'm Mo J. This is The More You Know. Thanks for watching. You can run, but you can't hide.
You can